Chapter 600. Before Lin Yuan could finish speaking, Zhou Luo and Hu Quan had already run to their rooms. Lu Jie looked at the bowl full of amber-colored liquid, and he recognized what was inside the bowl. When the insect queen was in danger, the bamboo monarch had given him a drop of silver auspicious gold luster cassia nectar. Although this drop of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar couldn't heal the insect queen's damaged foundation, it was enough to help the insect queen stall for a year. Otherwise, the insect queen would have died before Lu Jie could meet Lin Yuan. If that were the case, there wouldn't be a new student like Lu Jie. To the mother of bloodbath and endless summer, who were already myth-breed phase, the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar was even more beneficial. The secret of the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar cleansing the body's impurities was mainly to upgrade the genetic model, allowing the genetic model to reach the most perfect state. As compared to humans, phase genes were much more complicated. The mother of bloodbath, endless summer, and Lu Jie returned to their rooms after drinking the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar. Lin Yuan felt a little awkward. If he had known earlier, he would have taken out the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar after the meal. Only he, Chu Si, and when you were left sitting at the table during the reunion dinner. After eating, Lin Yuan took out the 2 pots of golden petal peonies and placed them beside the water rhinoceros leather sofa. Hu Quan had already made them but had not used them. The glow-winged butterflies resting in the spirit-containing hibiscus on the red sandalwood longevity fish tank all flew up after sensing the aura of the peony. It danced around the bronze/legend golden petals peony. The glow-winged butterfly was usually very lazy at night. If it could not fly, it would absolutely not fly. Now with these 2 pots of golden peonies, the glow-winged butterfly became as lively at night as it was during the day. He knew that these glow-winged butterflies were also craving the golden peony's pollen. The 2 bronze/legend golden-petaled peonies had a lot of pollen, and even though the Vajra butterfly had become a fantasy breed, it would not be able to consume all of it. Lin Yuan did not continue to stop these glow-winged butterflies from picking the golden peony's pollen. The more Lin Yuan looked at these fluttering glow-winged butterflies, the more he felt that there was something wrong with one of them. When this glow-winged butterfly fluttered, the other glow-winged butterflies instinctively avoided it by half a meter. Just as Lin Yuan was about to use true data to check this glow-winged butterfly's attributes, Chu Si said, "Lin Yuan, I'm done eating. I'll wait for you in the training room." As soon as Lin Yuan heard that, he no longer cared about this rather unusual glow-winged butterfly. Instead, he said directly, "Let's go together after I'm done eating. Before I go, I'll collect the metal and wood dual attribute pollen that the Vajra butterfly needs to advance into a fantasy breed." After saying that, Lin Yuan took out a wooden box and gently patted each of the blooming peonies. He collected the pollen from each peony into a box. The golden pollen was full of vitality and covered the bottom of the box. He took the box and pulled Chu Si toward the training room. So far, Chu Si's phase could be said to have been created by Lin Yuan. Therefore, he was looking forward to the exclusive skill that would appear after the Vajra butterfly became a fantasy breed. As for the burning sunflower, Lin Yuan didn't have any expectations. This was because the burning sunflower was a fairy source-type life form, and its abilities were enough to construct Chu Si's combat system. In Lin Yuan's opinion, what kind of exclusive skills and characteristics would appear would just be icing on the cake. In the training room, Lin Yuan summoned the bronze/legend Vajra butterfly. The bronze/legend Vajra butterfly had stayed with Lin Yuan for a long time. As soon as it saw Chu Si, it immediately flew to her side. It flew back and forth intimately around Chu Si. Sometimes, it would stop between Chu Si's fingers, and sometimes, it would stop at the tip of her nose, making her giggle. Lin Yuan had also contracted a butterfly species life form, and it was qualified to compete for the top 10 most beautiful phase, the blue flash purple butterfly. However, the blue flash purple butterfly was usually very cold. Although Lin Yuan could feel the deep fetters the blue flash purple butterfly had on him, it usually did not interact with him. In Lin Yuan's opinion, the only thing in the world that could make the blue flash purple butterfly enthusiastic was probably the jasmine lily. It had been half a year since the blue flash purple butterfly hatched from its cocoon, and Lin Yuan had single-handedly raised it. However, he had no clue about the blue flash purple butterfly's willpower rune that was suitable for all his phase. He recalled that Chu Si had looked at the Vajra butterfly and comprehended a willpower rune suitable for the Vajra butterfly. He planned to stare at the blue flash purple butterfly whenever he had the time and see if he could comprehend a willpower rune that was suitable for the blue flash purple butterfly. After playing with the Vajra butterfly for a while, Chu Si summoned the willpower rune she had comprehended from the Vajra butterfly. This was not the first time Lin Yuan had seen this willpower rune. This willpower rune gave off an abnormally heavy feeling, as if it was a sturdy shield. However, behind this heavy feeling, there seemed to be an indomitable aura hidden. Lin Yuan faintly felt that this willpower rune exuded a faintly discernible sense of recklessness. Lin Yuan placed the wooden box of dual attribute pollen on the table in the training room and said to Chu Si, "Don't worry." He said to Chu Si, "Let the Vajra butterflies suck the dual attribute pollen in the wooden box until you feel that the Vajra butterfly can't suck anymore. Use your willpower rune to combine with the Vajra butterfly and let it evolve into a fantasy breed." This was not the first time Chu Si had a fantasy breed fae, but compared to the previous time, she was even more nervous this time. After embarking on the path of a spirit chi professional, Chu Si, who was usually obsessed with combat training, understood the importance of exclusive skills and ability combinations better than her peers. Although Chu Si was nervous, she did not panic at all when commanding the Vajra butterfly. When the Vajra butterfly absorbed a small portion of the pollen in the wooden box, its abdomen had already swelled up. A layer of golden halo kept spreading from its abdomen, dyeing the Vajra butterfly's body, which was originally cyan steel, with a faint layer of gold. Chu Si sensed the Vajra butterfly's state. The moment the Vajra butterfly's body was completely dyed with gold, she controlled the willpower rune to meet the Vajra butterfly. The Vajra butterfly combined with this heavy willpower rune that hid an indomitable aura. In an instant, a layer of dense metallic halo lit up. Immediately after, Lin Yuan saw this dense metallic halo constantly shrink. Suddenly, a layer of green, watery luster lit up in the center of the metallic halo. The moment this layer of green, watery luster lit up, Lin Yuan's heart was at ease. It seemed that there were no problems in the process of the Vajra butterfly becoming a fantasy breed. The second was even better. End of this chapter. Chapter 601. Lin Yuan had been a little worried at the beginning that Chu Si's Vajra butterfly would not evolve in the direction of the jadeite butterfly. If the Vajra butterfly wanted to evolve in the direction of the jadeite butterfly, there were requirements in the combination of willpower runes. The willpower rune needed to have the verdant intent comprehended from plants. However, Chu Si's willpower rune had been comprehended from observing the Vajra butterfly itself. To Chu Si, the willpower rune comprehended from the Vajra butterfly was undoubtedly the most suitable for the Vajra butterfly itself. Now that the Vajra butterfly was still evolving in the direction of the jadeite butterfly, it was a cause for celebration. Lin Yuan had chosen the metalwood dual attribute pollen to match Chu Si's metal-textured willpower rune. It was also because the wood attribute in the pollen could replace the touch of verdant intent in the willpower rune during the Vajra butterfly's evolution. It would have a positive impact during the Vajra butterfly's metamorphosis and evolution. Before Lin Yuan could compose himself for 10 seconds, a voice suddenly rang out. Just as the emerald green radiance was about to expand, the yellow radiance suddenly pierced through the emerald green radiance. The yellow light kept expanding, dispersing the outer metal luster in the blink of an eye. Lin Yuan shook his head. Due to the willpower rune, the Vajra butterfly had not completely evolved in the direction of the jadeite butterfly. However, the emerald light at the beginning showed that the Vajra butterfly was indeed evolving in the direction of the jadeite butterfly at the beginning. The current process could be said to be a mutation in the process of the Vajra butterfly's evolution into the jadeite butterfly. As the yellow, watery luster shimmered, it suddenly became transparent. This kind of permeability was very similar to the permeability of high-quality yellow jades. At that moment, a palm-sized yellow butterfly flew out of the halo and landed directly between Chu Si's fingers. Lin Yuan saw that this yellow butterfly's body was full of moisture, and every part of its body seemed to be carved from lustrous jade. There were also many golden patterns on the light wings. Upon closer inspection, these patterns somewhat resembled the flowers of a peony with golden petals. If the previous Vajra butterfly looked like an ordinary piece of steel, then the current Vajra butterfly was a precious jade that would fascinate people just by looking at it. When he had checked the Vajra butterfly's evolution plan, he had seen the emerald jade butterfly's image. The only difference between the Vajra butterfly and the jadeite butterfly, which was a fantasy breed, was its color and the additional peony patterns on its body. From the quality of the wings, Lin Yuan was certain that his previous thoughts were correct. The Vajra butterfly had indeed mutated on the path of evolving into the jade butterfly. He did not guess too much and used Morbius True data to check the attributes of the Vajra butterfly after it had become a fantasy breed. Fey name, Yellow Jade Golden Butterfly, Spirit Species, Chrysalis/Chrysalis, Fey Grade, Bronze, 10/10, Fey Type, Metal, Fey Quality, Fantasy Eye Skills Frowny Face Wing Block, condenses a hard metal on the wings to block. When blocking, there is a certain chance that the blocked force will be reflected back. Gold Jade Shield, quickly attaches to the target and condenses a solid yellow jade shield that can follow the target's movements. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Counterattack Tremor. When attacked, a portion of the damage will be reflected back in the form of an energy tremor, regardless of whether it is a physical attack or a magical attack. Shield Explosion Counterattack. Shatter all the shields on the target and condense the greatest attack that the shield can withstand into one strike, causing huge damage. After checking the attributes, Lin Yuan found that the Vajra butterfly's name had become the Yellow Jade Golden Butterfly. Its quality had also changed from the previous legend to Fantasy Eye. When he looked at the normal wing block, Lin Yuan found that the wing block, which originally only had a defensive effect, could now block damage. There was also a certain chance that the damage received would be reflected. It could be said that just this damage reflection effect made the Yellow Jade Golden Butterfly's normal wing block undergo an earth-shattering change. However, Lin Yuan's heart suddenly rang loudly. He felt that the damage reflection ability was a prelude to recklessness no matter how he looked at it. When he saw the Yellow Jade Golden Butterfly become a fantasy breed and its new exclusive skill, Shield Explosion Counterattack, Lin Yuan could not help but hold his forehead with his hand. He finally knew what was going on with the sharpness behind the shield-like heavy feeling in the willpower rune that Chu Ci had comprehended. The exclusive skill, Shield Explosion Counterattack, directly shattered all the shields and converted the shield's original damage resistance into attack power to launch a powerful blow. It was equivalent to sacrificing all the defensive abilities of a defense-type Spirit Chi professional and instantly becoming a power offense-type Spirit Chi professional. Moreover, the stronger the defense-type Spirit Chi professional, the more outstanding their attack power would be. As Lin Yuan watched the evolved Yellow Jade Golden Butterfly flutter in front of Chu Ci, he only felt more and more angry. He did not know whether Chu Ci's willpower had determined the Yellow Jade Golden Butterfly's evolution direction. Or was it the Yellow Jade Golden Butterfly's evolution fulfilling Chu Ci's wish? Lin Yuan felt that compared to him, an all-around Spirit Chi professional who wore the skin of a healing-type Spirit Chi professional, Chu Ci was more like a combat-type Spirit Chi professional. At this moment, Chu Ci was more like a combat-type Spirit Chi professional who wore the skin of a defense-type Spirit Chi professional. At this moment, he should be able to declare his Iron Bucket Sisters transformation plan bankrupt. The previous 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock had all been implemented very well. However, after Fine Steel became a Yellow Jadeite Golden Butterfly, all of his plans were put on hold. Even Lin Yuan's plan to modify the Iron Bucket's younger sister had died before he could implement it at 4 o'clock p.m. However, Lin Yuan had to admit that even if his plan to transform his Iron Bucket sister failed, he would not be able to do so. The Vajra Butterfly's exclusive skill, Shield Explosion Counterattack, was definitely powerful. In fact, just the exclusive skill, Shield Explosion Counterattack, had established Chu Ci's combat system as a defense-type Spirit Chi professional. The Jadeite Golden Butterfly and the luminous Iron Wild Bull were Chu Ci's contracted phase. The Obsidian Iron Wild Bull was reckless in the open, the yellow jadeite golden butterfly was reckless in secret, and Chu Ci was reckless in her heart. Lin Yuan simply did not know how to ridicule Chu Ci's boorish combination. Unlike Lin Yuan's melancholy, the more she looked at the yellow jadeite golden butterfly, the more she liked it. He could feel the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's second exclusive skill, shield explosion counterattack. Chu Ci felt that there was simply no exclusive skill more suitable for her than the shield detonation counterattack. Chu Ci said to Lin Yuan after thinking for a moment. Lin Yuan, I need to choose more phase with shield-type abilities in the future. The third one. End of chapter. Chapter 602. Lin Yuan understood Chu Ci, so he understood why she had such an idea after hearing what she said. Chu Ci had such thoughts because she had sensed the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's exclusive skill, shield explosion. However, Chu Ci knew that as a girl, she had to protect herself. Even if it was for the sake of recklessness, Lin Yuan was still rather gratified. Lin Yuan looked at the yellow jadeite golden butterfly and said to Chu Ci, why don't I help you directly upgrade the yellow jadeite golden butterfly from bronze X/fantasy I to silver? This way, the yellow jadeite golden butterfly will also have an additional silver skill. Chu Ci shook her head and stuck out her tongue. Little Wing has just become a fantasy breed. I want to do some actual combat on Star Web before advancing Little Wing's grade. Chu Ci was a practical fighter. She liked to train her Fey abilities and exclusive skills through actual combat. Lin Yuan nodded and looked at the peony patterns on the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's wings. At this level, the peony pattern on the yellow jadeite golden butterfly had not shown any effect yet. It only existed as a kind of decoration. However, after a Fey underwent a metamorphosis, every obvious change on its body wouldn't be that simple. Just like when Chimey had evolved into the Streamcloud Azure Bird, the cloud patterns that appeared on its body only showed their effects when it evolved into the Twilight Starbird. The peony pattern on the yellow jadeite golden butterfly should have the same effect as the cloud pattern on Chimey's wings. However, he could not help but ridicule her naming ability in his heart. The obsidian iron wild bull was called Little Iron Nugget, and the yellow jade golden butterfly was called Little Wings. In Lin Yuan's opinion, the obsidian iron wild bull might as well be called Black Dezhuang. As for the yellow jadeite golden butterfly, who had deceived his feelings, Lin Yuan expressed that he was too lazy to waste his brain cells to give it a name. Now that the emerald jade butterfly had completed its evolution, he wanted to let Chu Ci contract the fairy source-type life form, the burning sunflower. Lin Yuan raised his hand, and a coconut-sized, dark green cactus appeared in his hand. The spikes on the dark green cactus were not hard, and they would bend when pressed hard. Moreover, these spikes weren't prickly when held in his hands. They just looked a little scary. Black and red marks appeared on the dark green skin of the cactus. It was as if the dark green skin had been burned and corroded by a dark red substance, forming many scars on the surface. The body of the burning sunflower, which was shaped like a cactus ball, didn't look very beautiful. However, the two large flower buds on the top of the ball were faintly revealing scarlet petals that were exceptionally bright. It was as if it would blossom as soon as a condition was met. Lin Yuan placed the burning sunflower in front of Chu Ci. This is a fairy source-type life form. Its abilities are very compatible with your obsidian iron wild bull's silver abilities. You said that the obsidian iron wild bull's silver skills aren't easy to use. You don't have to worry about that now that you have the burning sunflower. Chu Ci looked at the cactus-shaped object and thought it was just an ordinary plant fey. However, he did not expect it to be a source-type life form. Although Chu Ci had become Tsang Yue's disciple, she spent most of her time training and improving her strength. He hadn't really broadened his horizons. Thus, she had never seen a fairy source-type life form known as a source item aristocrat. However, Chu Ci knew that source-type items had to meet certain requirements before they could be contracted. He asked Lin Yuan, Lin Yuan, what do I need to do to contract the fairy source-type burning sunflower? Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan placed the burning sunflower in her hand and said, that's right. You can directly enter the contract. You don't need to do anything. Upon hearing that, she looked at the burning sunflower in her hand and understood that Lin Yuan must have dealt with this fairy source-type life form. Otherwise, ordinary source-type items would not have such a bronze phase aura. Chu Ci was not a creation master and could not understand the contract conditions of the burning sunflower. He did not understand what was so special about the burning sunflower that had the aura of a bronze fae. However, she knew that no matter what, her brother was always silently behind her back, thinking about his own life and helping him pave the way forward step by step. Chu Ci stretched out her hand and pressed her palm on the surface of the burning sunflower's thorns. He activated his mental energy and formed a contract with the burning sunflower. As Chu Ci used her mental energy to contract the burning sunflower, Lin Yuan saw that the dark red scars on the burning sunflower's body suddenly caved in. A large amount of crimson flames gushed out from within these scars. The moment these flames gushed out, Lin Yuan immediately felt like he was being roasted. It caused Lin Yuan to take 2 steps back. The crimson flames that gushed out of the burning sunflower's body were extremely invasive and completely engulfed the burning sunflower's body surface in the blink of an eye. The soft thorns on the burning sunflower's surface immediately became as red as blood after coming into contact with the crimson flames. Soon, the dark green plant-like flesh on the burning sunflower's surface was burned to nothing. Only the frame that was formed by the blood-red thorns was left. There was also a thin layer of crimson flames on the frame that formed a flame yarn. The 2 huge red flowers on the top had already bloomed the moment the scar collapsed. However, the crimson red flowers were not like ordinary flowers, where every petal was in full bloom. Instead, the petals at the top kept curling inwards, and a few curled petals combined as if forming a shed. The petals at the bottom frantically extended downwards and were more than 3 times longer than the petals growing above. These slender petals that grew from the bottom combined and formed a hammock shape. Crimson flames gushed out of the flower center, making the entire flower look even redder and more crystalline. At that moment, a small figure was born in each of the flames at the center of the 2 flowers. It took less than 3 seconds for the figure to turn from transparent to solid. Lin Yuan saw that the 2 palm-sized figures had long, flame-like hair. They had pointed ears, jade-like skin, and every crimson pattern on their body was burning with a thin layer of flame yarn. These flame yarns also formed the clothes of the little fairies that were born in the flames. Lin Yuan knew that these 2 little fairies born in the burning sunflower should be the burning sunflower Gemini. This was also why the burning sunflower was called a fairy source-type life form. At that moment, a layer of crimson flames lingered around Chu Ci's body, but she was not affected by the flames at all. Instead, the yellow jadeite golden butterfly put a layer of golden jadeite shield on her body to resist the corrosion of the scorching flames on her body. The first was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 603. Looking at the flames lingering around Chu Ci, Lin Yuan knew that this was the fire elemental immunity she had after contracting the fairy source-type burning sunflower. Not far away from Chu Ci was a bronze/epic usnea. This bronze/epic usnea had been specially enhanced by Lin Yuan for Chimey. Compared to the platinum celery vine that Chimey had been eating, it preferred the taste of the usnea. Therefore, Lin Yuan had conveniently placed this bronze/epic usnea in the training room as a decoration. Apart from Chimey, some omnivorous fays in the mansion, including Genius, would occasionally come to eat some leaves on the usnea vines. However, the leaves on the side of this bronze/epic usnea that was close to Chu Ci were constantly shriveling. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan hurriedly moved the bronze/epic usnea in front of him. He took a piece of shriveled usnea leaf and saw that the originally plump and juicy usnea leaf had actually become a little shriveled. Lin Yuan had specially picked this usnea because its exclusive skill, Energy Juice, had appeared after reaching bronze. The exclusive skill, Energy Juice, was considered the most optimal exclusive skill that the usneas had evolved to make themselves more delicious. This was also the reason why this usnea was qualified to be evolved to bronze/epic by Lin Yuan. With Energy Juice, the usnea's leaves were especially plump and had a water-locking function that was far superior to ordinary usneas. Obviously, The thin and shriveled leaves were not only caused by the high temperature. Lin Yuan used true data to check on the burning sunflower that Chu Si had just contracted. Fei name: burning sunflower, Fei species. Apricot/Gemini, Fei grade. Normal, 1/10. Fei type: spiritual/source, Fei quality. Normal abilities: frowny face, burning flame. Increases the temperature of the burning sunflower Gemini's flames, and the flames have the effect of stripping away the water hidden in the depths. Lin Yuan's expression froze when he checked. The burning sunflower's normal ability, burning flame, could be considered a kind of enhancement to the burning sunflower Gemini's flames. At the same time, the flames around the burning sunflower Gemini also had the effect of stripping away the water hidden in the target's body. Lin Yuan did not attach much importance to the enhancement of the flames, as the burning sunflower's flame's temperature increase was itself a double-edged sword. While hurting the enemy, he was also hurting himself. However, the burning sunflower flame's effect of stripping away the moisture hidden deep within her body had little effect on her. First of all, as the burning sunflower's contractor, she was immune to its damage. The silver/fantasy obsidian iron wild bull was a lump of iron, even though its body could be injured. However, the obsidian iron wild bull's skin had been metallized a long time ago due to its constant consumption of metal. The obsidian iron wild bull was very resistant to the burning sunflower's flames, which stripped away the moisture in its body. For other Feis, as long as they did not have a metallic skin like the obsidian iron wild bull, their skin would crack when the moisture was removed. If they were roasted by the burning sunflower's flames for a long time, even if they were not burnt by the flames, they would still die. When Feis moved intensely during combat, their skin might be dehydrated, causing their muscles to tear. He felt that such an effect was even more vicious than some poison-type Feis' toxic abilities. After Chu Si contracted the burning sunflower, she was overjoyed. He summoned the obsidian iron wild bull with a wave of his hand. He patted its neck and said, "Don't worry, little iron chunk, you'll have another good partner in the future." Lin Yuan's eyelids twitched wildly. It's true that they're partners, but are they really good partners? After you have the burning sunflower, the obsidian iron wild bull will have to be prepared to be possessed by the burning sunflower and become a roasted cow. Lin Yuan, I feel that after contracting the burning sunflower, I seem to know how to structure my combat system. As Chu Si spoke, the burning sunflower Gemini that were born from the flames also opened their eyes. After opening their eyes, the burning sunflower Gemini immediately kissed Chu Si on the left and right. Then, they sat firmly on Chu Si's shoulder. Fairy source-type lifeforms were favored by spirit chi professionals because they were very strong. On the other hand, it was because fairy source-type lifeforms were far more intelligent than other source-type lifeforms when they were contracted. Looking at the burning sunflower Gemini's behavior and the look in their eyes, this statement was indeed true. The burning sunflower Gemini's small hands were already constantly emitting sparks, which burned and exploded and made sounds. Lin Yuan found that the burning sunflower Gemini were already using his conversation with Chu Si. They began to use the sound of the flames to simulate and learn the language. Chu Si liked the burning sunflower Gemini very much. Whether it was their appearance or their small humanoid appearance, it was very easy for people to have a good impression of the burning sunflower Gemini. Moreover, the burning sunflower Gemini had learned how to act coquettishly to female spirit chi professionals in their mother's womb. Chu Si, sit over there for a while. I'll help you raise the burning sunflower's grade. Later, you can choose an exclusive skill suitable for your bronze burning sunflower's combat system. When Chu Si heard that Lin Yuan was going to enhance the burning sunflower, she hurriedly waited at the side for fear of disturbing him. Lin Yuan looked at Chu Si hurriedly leaving and touched the back of his head. Other creation masters were afraid of disturbing, but Lin Yuan was not. Lin Yuan felt that Chu Si had misunderstood his meaning. He was just afraid that Chu Si would feel bored staying here. It was better to sit at the side for a while or bring the obsidian iron wild bull and the newly promoted fantasy breed yellow jadeite golden butterfly to familiarize themselves with each other. Lin Yuan took a deep breath and began to enhance the burning sunflower Gemini. In just a few minutes, the burning sunflower Gemini had been enhanced to elite by Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan looked at the burning sunflower Gemini's elite ability, Distorted Heat Wave. The heat wave distortion was considered a defense-type ability. It was equivalent to a layer of high-temperature shield, and the energy in the high temperature offset the damage received to form a defensive effect. It was considered a very suitable ability for Chu Si's combat style. Lin Yuan continued to enhance the burning sunflower. When the burning sunflower Gemini's grade was raised to elite/epic, Lin Yuan increased the speed of spirit chi conduction. He increased the speed of spirit chi conduction, allowing the burning sunflower Gemini to evolve from elite/epic to bronze. Lin Yuan found that he was even more nervous when enhancing Chu Si's phase than when he was enhancing them. Lin Yuan did not immediately let Chu Si come over after promoting the burning sunflower to bronze. Instead, he enhanced the burning sunflower to bronze X/epic before waving at Chu Si in the distance. Chu Si immediately ran over. When Chu Si ran to his side, Lin Yuan checked the 3 exclusive skills that had appeared after promoting the burning sunflower to bronze. End of this chapter. Chapter 604. The 3 exclusive skills that appeared after reaching bronze were Frowny Face Surging Flames. The burning sunflower Gemini fuses together, instantly releasing all of the fire energy stored within the burning sunflower, dealing damage to all targets on the field. Gemini Enchantment. The burning sunflower Gemini can be attached to an item, adding the effects of the burning sunflower Gemini's own flames to the item, and the attached target will not be affected by the burning sunflower Gemini's flames. Gemini Protection. When the burning sunflower Gemini attaches itself to the target, it will burn away the target's life force and store the life force in the gem on its forehead. When attached to a target, it can inject the stored life force into the target's body. Upon seeing these 3 exclusive skills, Lin Yuan first excluded the Surging Heat Wave. In Lin Yuan's opinion, the exclusive skill, Surging Heat Wave, was considered a kind of burning sunflower's high-burst attack method, so its damage was naturally needless to say. However, this surging flame was not an ordinary eruption method. This was because the target of the surging flames was not just the enemy units, but everyone present. If Chu Si chose this exclusive skill, she would probably not be able to escape the fate of being a star web host, Poison Beauty. No one would dare to team up with her again. As for the Gemini Enchantment and Gemini Guard, Lin Yuan was undoubtedly more inclined to the Gemini Guard. The Gemini Protector was equivalent to giving Chu Si a portable blood bag. Moreover, it could be used on all of her phase, including the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull. Gemini Guard was equivalent to strengthening the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's pain absorption and annihilation gaze. When he saw the burning sunflower's exclusive skill, Gemini Guard, Lin Yuan felt that his plan to transform his broken sister into a metal bucket hadn't completely failed. Because the Gemini Care had allowed the burning sunflower to make a guest appearance as a healing-type Fae, it was the same as adding a layer of flames to Chu Si's reflective iron bucket. He also added healing abilities internally. This allowed Chu Si, a boorish fellow who wore the skin of a defense-type spirit chi professional, to have the ability to fight continuously. Even if the burning sunflower was actually a pyromaniac, and the healing ability was just a side effect. However, just this little bit of healing ability was enough to give her fighting prowess a qualitative change. Chu Si checked the burning sunflower's 3 exclusive skills and said to Lin Yuan with certainty, "Lin Yuan, I want to choose Gemini Care." Lin Yuan had been a little hesitant at first. Although Gemini Care was very suitable for her, Gemini Enchantment was not bad either. If the burning sunflower Gemini could be enchanted on the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's horns, it would undoubtedly increase the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's combat power. However, Lin Yuan had not expected that Chu Si's choice of the burning sunflower would be so clear and decisive. Chu Si confirmed the burning sunflower's exclusive skill. Lin Yuan used true data to check the burning sunflower's current attributes. Fey name, burning sunflower, spirit species, apricot/Gemini, Fey grade, bronze, 10/10, Fey type, spiritual/source, Fey quality, epic skills Frowny Face Scorching Flame, increases the temperature of the burning sunflower Gemini's flames, and the flames have the effect of removing the moisture hidden deep within. Distorted heat wave. When the burning sunflower Gemini attaches itself to a target, it will form a high-temperature heat wave around the target. When the heat wave takes damage, it will cancel out the energy within the heat wave to protect the target. Exclusive skill Frowny Face Gemini Protection. When the burning sunflower Gemini attaches itself to the target, it will take away the target's vitality through burning and store the vitality in the gem on the forehead. When it attaches itself to a target, it can inject the stored vitality into the target's body. Looking at the Bronze X/Epic Burning Sunflower's attributes, Lin Yuan did not expect that the burning sunflower, which he had thought would not bring any surprises, would actually bring him a great surprise. Instead, it brought him a great surprise. After this Fey enhancement, Chu Si's strength had increased by leaps and bounds, but this was not what Lin Yuan valued the most. What Lin Yuan valued was that Chu Si had already faintly formed a combat system at this stage. Lin Yuan instructed Chu Si, "Sleep early tonight. I still have to go to the venue to watch the all-star match tomorrow morning." Then he left the training room. Chu Si excitedly started to practice the cooperation between the obsidian iron wild bull, the yellow jadeite golden butterfly, and the burning sunflower Gemini in the training room. Lin Yuan returned to his room, leaned on the bed, and picked up his cell phone to check the messages. He found that the group chat with Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran had been silent for the past few days. No one had sent any messages in the group chat since 3 days ago. The Extreme Guild Club's competition had clearly been held 4 days ago. He had also talked with Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran about the situation of the Extreme Guild Club's competition against the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. Lin Yuan looked at Zhang Xiaobai's moments again. He saw that Zhang Xiaobai, who had always been flooding his moments, had not posted anything since he had posted a match cheer 4 days ago. Lin Yuan did not have many friends, so he was more attentive to them. The attentive Lin Yuan knew that Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran should have encountered some problems. According to the time, the problem they had encountered was likely related to the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's competition. Lin Yuan was already lying on the bed. He looked at the time, sat up, and called Zhang Xiaobai. Just as he dialed, Lin Yuan only heard "The number you have dialed is not available." Lin Yuan then called Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran in turn and found the same situation. Lin Yuan suddenly remembered that Zhang Xiaobai had said in the previous chat. Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, and the others were members of the reserve team. Therefore, they were required to turn off their cell phones every night when they had a mock competition with the home team members, for fear of affecting the training of the home team members. When he had heard the rules, Lin Yuan could guess that the Extreme Guild Club's treatment of the reserve team members was not very good. Lin Yuan had even sensed something when he, Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran had teamed up to collect the Jade Unicorn Viper's venom. This was because Zhang Xiaobai and the others were originally helping the club's home team members to collect spiritual ingredients. The remuneration they received was comparable to that of a normal Jade Unicorn Viper's venom. Furthermore, according to the team's rules, as a healing-type spirit chi professional, he had to take a portion of the remuneration from Zhang Xiaobai and the others. Tomorrow was the all-star match, and the Extreme Guild Club, a B-class club, was also invited to attend. As reserve team members, Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran should also attend. Third, end of this chapter. Chapter 605. When the time came, he would just have to ask him face to face. Lin Yuan knew that Zhang Xiaobai, Xing, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru were all strong-willed and would not easily speak up if they were in trouble. However, if a friend who had faced life and death with him was in trouble, he would take the initiative to help even if no one mentioned it. The meeting room of Dragon Gate Guild Club was brightly lit. Even during the new year, none of the Dragon Gate Guild Club members, from the main team members to the reserve team members, were absent. A few members of the reserve team sat up straight in their seats, their eyes shining brightly. He was obviously expecting something. On the other hand, a young girl was lazily lying on the table in the conference room, her hands under the table rubbing her stomach from time to time. The young man with a watermelon haircut next to the girl curled his lips and whispered, "Zhao Xiaochun, Didn't I just eat barbecue with you? That's 30 whole roasted pig trotters, and all I got was a roasted corn. Even if you're not full, you don't have to act like you're hungry. Zhao Xiaochun rolled her eyes at Fang Duo and continued rubbing her stomach. After a while, she said weakly, Fang Duo, you're really inhuman. Not only did you not fight to pay for a meal with a beautiful girl, but you even ate a roasted corn. If I could eat one more roasted corn, I might be full. Fang Duo stared at Zhao Xiaochun, dumbfounded. Was she speaking human language? At this moment, Fang Duo suddenly understood what Zhao Xiaochun had said to him in the evening. Accompany me for dinner. What did that mean? He felt that he had drawn the wrong point. The point was not to eat, but to accompany. He only needed to watch Zhao Xiaochun eat and accompany her the whole time. However, Fang Duo felt that even if he ate with Zhao Xiaochun, eating a roasted corn wouldn't be considered too much. In any case, even if he gave Zhao Xiaochun 50 more roasted corn, Zhao Xiaochun would still be dead. Long Tao sat on the main seat and could naturally hear the conversation between Fang Duo and Zhao Xiaochun. Long Tao helplessly patted the table and said, All right, I'll make arrangements for tomorrow's all-star mash. If you haven't eaten your fill, you can go to Muxiang Residence tonight to try Muxiang Residence's signature dried pot beef ribs. Muxiang Residence's buffet is quite comprehensive and delicious. Fang Duo looked at Long Tao and blinked twice. She didn't know how the boss of Muxiang House had provoked Long Tao. If Zhao Xiaochun went to eat, wouldn't she bankrupt Muxiang House's buffet restaurant? It wasn't easy for the capital to have a buffet restaurant. When Zhao Xiaochun heard this, her eyes immediately lit up. He asked Long Tao, Muxiang House? Why haven't I heard of it before? Where's the address? Hearing Zhao Xiaochun's deadly 3 questions, Fang Duo could only let the owner of Muxiang Residence pray for his own good. Long Tao picked up his phone, pressed it twice, and waved it at Zhao Xiaochun. I have already sent the address of Muxiangju to the group chat. Zhao Xiaochun immediately picked up her phone and her eyes lit up. She no longer looked weak and hungry. Fang Duo was also checking the address of Muxiang Residence in the group chat. However, Fang Duo couldn't figure out what kind of yin-yang medicine Long Tao was selling in his yin-yang gourd. Long Tao coughed and said seriously, The All-Star competition starts off as an exhibition match. As an A-Guild club, our Dragon Gate Guild club can't escape from the exhibition match. Plenty will be leading the team this time. Xiaochun and I won't be participating. You 3 main team members and 2 reserve team members will do. Fang Duo hurriedly replied. Roger. Compared to the regular S tournament, the All-Star competition was more like a large-scale carnival. Therefore, during the duels between the various teams, they would usually choose to hide their crucial trump cards and display the magnificence of high-grade phase abilities. This wasn't Fang Duo's first time leading an all-star exhibition team. At this time, Fang Duo was looking at the 5 reserve team members and calculating. When Zhao Xiaochun heard that she didn't need to go on stage for the all-star exhibition, she was extremely excited. He rolled his eyes and said to Long Tao, Captain, since I'm not needed for the exhibition match, I'm sure I won't be needed for the coaching match either. Why don't I take this opportunity to take a break and explore the shops? When Long Tao heard Zhao Xiaochun's words, his face darkened. Even if Long Tao was a hermaphrodite, there was nothing he could do to someone like Zhao Xiaochun, who only cared about food. I can't, but after the all-star competition ends tomorrow, I'll treat you guys to a big meal. Zhao Xiaochun, who had lost interest when she heard that she couldn't go to the store, immediately raised her hand in response when she heard that Long Tao was going to treat her in the evening. Tomorrow is the all-star match. I don't want to eat too much tonight. In a bit, I'll go to Muxianggu and have a taste. If it's delicious, let's go to Muxiang Pavilion for a feast tomorrow night. Hearing Zhao Xiaochun mention the Muxiang Pavilion, the gaze Long Tao looked at Zhao Xiaochun with suddenly became somewhat strange. But then Long Tao nodded and said, Then we'll listen to Xiaochun and go to Muxiang Pavilion for a meal tomorrow. As for the challenge match and the coaching match facing the audience, it's not convenient for us 4 main members to participate since we're all members of the 100 sequence. Why don't our phone go up? Chen Hongfeng hurriedly stood up and said, "Captain, I won't embarrass our Dragon Gate Guild Club." Long Tao named Chen Hongfeng as the candidate for the challenge and coaching match with the lucky audience, making the remaining 4 Dragon Gate Guild Club reserve members extremely envious. But thinking that Chen Hongfeng had already been confirmed by Long Tao to participate in the quarterfinals, the 4 reserve members had nothing to compare. It could be said that Chen Hongfeng's status was already a level higher than that of the reserve members. It was very likely that he would be promoted to the main member of the Dragon Gate Guild Club next year. Long Tao heard Chen Hongfeng's promise and said, "Your smooth-toothed elephant lizard's rank and quality have also been raised to Gold X/Epic. Although it hasn't awakened its dragon-type bloodline, it's only a step away from it. The huge-tailed swamp lizard has also reached Gold X/Epic. After this all-star match, I'll help you find someone to raise the huge-tailed swamp lizard from Gold X/Epic to Legendary. It'll also put the willpower rune you comprehended to use." Chen Hongfeng heard the meaning behind Long Tao's words and hurriedly said, "Thank you, Captain. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard swallowed the perfect quality dragon snake orchid flower you gave me last time, and the dragon-type bloodline in its body is being activated every day. It should be able to raise its bloodline and evolve into a dragon-tailed elephant lizard tomorrow or the day after." Long Tao nodded and dismissed the meeting after saying a few more words to Fong Duo. The first time. End of this chapter. Chapter 606. The meeting room of the Rhine Club was also brightly lit. However, the meeting in the Rhine Club's guild conference room had obviously been dismissed for a long time. Shi Su was the only one left in the conference room, holding his chin with his hand and laughing foolishly. At this moment, the door of the Rhine Club was pushed open from the outside. A young man who wasn't tall but looked very mature walked in. When the young man saw Shi Su laughing mysteriously while leaning on his arm, his face revealed an indescribable expression. How could such a fine young man become a fool? The mature youth walked to Shi Su's side and was about to ask Shi Su what was wrong. But he didn't expect Shi Su to speak first. "Captain, what should you do if someone secretly likes you?" Hearing this, the mature-looking young man's expression immediately became awkward. Li Ong expressed that even though he was the Radiance 100 sequence number 2, he looked rather mature and reserved. As a result, no one had ever come to flirt with him. He was a complete newbie in love. Not only had he never held a girl's hand, he had never even thought about it. "You asked me, what if someone secretly likes you? How would I know? On the other hand, I, Liang, would like to ask you, Shi Su, how do you make someone like you secretly?" Liang coughed lightly. His mature face remained unchanged as he calmly said to Shi Su, "What? I saw you smiling foolishly today, so it turns out that you've fallen in love." Hearing Liang's words, Shi Su immediately jumped up like a cat whose tail was pinched. "Captain, don't talk nonsense. It's someone else who likes me. I'm just thinking about whether or not I should accept her." As he spoke, Shi Su's voice became softer and softer. His face was as red as the braised pork that had just come out of the pot. If it had been someone else, they might have been able to tell that Shi Su was lying. But at this time, Liang's mind was filled with thoughts of how to make people secretly like him, so he obviously couldn't hear it. Seeing Shi Su's reaction, Liang hurriedly comforted him. "If you like her, then accept her. If you don't like her, then you're just forcing yourself." At this time, Liang heard Shi Shuchang say with a long sigh, "Sigh, the key is that the girl gave me a lot of money. The grace of a beauty is really sweet and distressing." Hearing Shi Su's sigh, Liang felt his hands itch. Liang looked at his own hand and thought that even if Shi Su used his lightning tortoise shell, he might still die from his slap. Liang quickly calmed himself down and thought to himself, "It's fine if no one has a crush on me, but Shi Su has a crush on someone, and there's even a little girl who's taking the initiative to give him money. What kind of good fortune is this? How could he still pretend to sigh when he had such good fortune?" Liang asked, pretending not to care. "How much did the girl who has a crush on you give you?" Hearing this, Shi Su said with even more melancholy, 50 million radiance dollars. As soon as Shi Su finished speaking, he heard Liang cough violently. Su turned around and said to Liang, "Captain, if you're not feeling well, why don't you rest in the guild tomorrow? I'll help you lead the team to the all-star competition." Liang immediately stopped coughing and said in a mature manner, No need. My body is fine, and that girl gave you 50 million radiance dollars. She should be very rich, right? Liang would never let Su lead the team to the all-star competition for him even if he was beaten to death. The Rhine Guild Club was the champion of last year's S tournament. As the captain of the Rhine Guild Club, Liang would be participating in the all-star competition in a high-profile manner. He might even be able to use this opportunity to meet a girl who fell in love with him at first sight and write a love letter to him. At that time, he would be able to end his 24 years of single life and graduate from the automatic control major with glory. When Su heard Liang's question, he subconsciously replied, "How would I know that Zhao Xiaochun is so rich? How would I know that Zhao Xiaochun is so rich? She actually took out 50 million radiance dollars." As soon as Su said this, he immediately realized that he seemed to have revealed something incredible. In the morning, Su, who had been busy with the S tournament, finally had the time to log into his live streaming room on Star Web after more than a month. He was preparing to do a Star Web live streaming as usual. However, he didn't expect to receive a surprise box. Su rarely live streamed, but he understood that very few people would stuff a lot of money into a surprise box that didn't add any contribution points. He didn't expect to find 50 million radiance dollars after opening it. The working emperor, Su, was dumbfounded by the 50 million radiance dollars reward. When Su looked at the reward on the box, he realized that it was actually a reward from Zhao Xiaochun, who was also a Radiance 100 sequence member like him. The surprise box was a reward that the host could only receive 1 year after it was sent. Su sorted out his thoughts and finally determined that Zhao Xiaochun should have been secretly in love with him a year ago. He thought about the lewd words that Zhao Xiaochun had said to him in the Abyss Dimensional Rift. Su was sure that Zhao Xiaochun had wanted to use this method to attract his attention, but he hadn't reacted in time. Originally, Su didn't have any thoughts about Zhao Xiaochun. However, after thinking about it, Su felt that since he was single, he couldn't let down a girl's affection. Somehow, the more he thought about it, the more images Su had in his mind. When he was giggling earlier, Su had already thought of his daughter's name. When he thought about his daughter, Xiaochun, who looked fair and tender, Su couldn't help but curl up his mouth again. He let out a hee giggle. When Liang heard Su mention Zhao Xiaochun, he didn't react for a moment. When Liang came back to his senses, his jaw almost dropped to the ground. After a long while, Liang said suspiciously, "Isn't Zhao Xiaochun someone who only likes handsome men?" After Liang said this, he realized that what he said was wrong. Just as he was about to change the topic, he didn't expect to hear Su say this in a serious tone. "If Zhao Xiaochun didn't like handsome guys, she wouldn't have fallen for me at first sight." Liang looked at Su's confident look and was stunned. Liang felt that he and Su both had the appearance of a mature youth. Other than his height, Liang was confident that he was not worse than Su in any other aspect. Was it because of the stubble on Su's chin? Touching his chin, Liang decided to grow a beard from now on. The more Liang looked at Su, the more he felt that Su was an expert. Otherwise, Zhao Xiaochun wouldn't have been willing to give him 50 million radiance dollars to pursue him. Zhao Xiaochun should be going to the S tournament tomorrow. Do you want me to create an opportunity for you? Su shook his head and said mysteriously, "No need, she likes to eat." "No need, she likes it? I've already used the money Xiaochun gave me to open another restaurant. The second one was even better." End of this chapter. Chapter 607. At this point, Su's expression became even more sincere and resolute. "I also secretly told Long Tao about me and Xiaochun. When the time comes, Long Tao will bring Xiaochun to my restaurant for dinner. Confessions should be left to boys." Looking at Su's unfathomable look, Liang felt that he should learn more from Su on the road of love. Following an expert like Su was definitely the right choice. At the same time, Liang was somewhat vexed. If he had known that a master like Su was hiding by his side, she might even have a child by now. The next morning, after Lin Yuan woke up, he cut the hair that was originally covering his earlobes to his ears. After showering, Lin Yuan chose a set of spirit chi clothes with white and blue colors embellished with some platinum-colored silk patterns. The lock made of dragon species fey leather and scales extended from the waist all the way down to the calf. It made the white and blue spirit chi clothes look a little more heroic. He could not help but sigh. When Yu's lifestyle class spirit chi occupation, the weaver, was probably going to rise from class 3 to class 4. Not to mention the exquisite design of the spirit chi clothing, even the craftsmanship was a level higher than when he first made the clothes for himself. After leaving the room and eating breakfast, everyone prepared to head towards the all-star competition venue. Lu Jie said as he helped Chu Ci carry her backpack. The all-star competition will be held in the Palace of Radiance. I have already prepared lunch in the Fey storage box. Let me know if you are hungry. Chu Ci said hurriedly. Thank you, Brother Lu. Lin Yuan realized that Lu Jie really doted on her and would always ask her what she liked when cooking. Everyone in the manor, including the mother of Bloodbath and Endless Summer, treated her well from the bottom of their hearts. This made Lin Yuan very happy and touched. He knew his sister very well. She was the kind of person who was not good with words and very slow to warm up. It was the care and love of the other people in the manor that allowed her to blend in so quickly. Lin Yuan didn't know much about the all-star competition and usually didn't pay much attention to it. Therefore, Lin Yuan did not know that the all-star competition's venue was actually the Palace of Radiance. The Radiance Palace could be said to be the second largest venue in the Radiance Federation after the Radiance Sacred Hall. Unlike the Radiance Sacred Hall, which represented the Radiance will, the Radiance Temple was undoubtedly much more relaxed. The Radiant Light Palace was open to all Spirit Chi professionals, and even non-Spirit Chi professionals could enter as long as they had a ticket. However, the Radiant Light Palace also had a strong sense of government. In a sense, the Radiant Light Palace belonged to the Radiance Sacred Hall. It had always been the staff of the Radiance Sacred Hall who managed the Radiance Temple. Venues like the Radiance Palace had always been the place to hold the Radiance 100 sequence selection in the past. Last year, the finals of the S tournament were not held in the Palace of Glow. Instead, it was held in the Starlight Palace, which was one level lower than the Radiance Palace. However, this time, the Guild Alliance had requested to hold the All-Star competition in the Radiant Light Palace. It could be seen that the scale of this year's All-Star competition was much larger than the previous ones. It could be said that the Guild Alliance had spent a lot to organize this event. When you didn't summon the Sunlight Egret as she usually did. Instead, he spoke to Lin Yuan. Young Master, every ticket for the All-Star competition includes the Guild Alliance's official flying phase for transportation services. There are now 10 soft feather unicorn birds waiting outside. Hu Quan interrupted and said, the Guild Alliance has really spent a lot of money. There are 200,000 seats in the Radiant Light Palace, which is equivalent to sending out 200,000 soft feather unicorn birds at the same time. Just the transportation cost of 20 soft feather unicorn birds for a day is no less than 1 trillion radiance dollars. Upon hearing Hu Quan's sigh, Lin Yuan shook his head. The Guild Alliance had spent such a huge price to send out the soft feather unicorn birds for transportation. It was probably not just for the service. It was more likely that the 200,000 spectators would be riding different flying fays. Tens of thousands of different types of flying fays would gather together. As some fays were natural enemies or predatory, they might attack each other uncontrollably. Many Spirit Chi professionals' flying fays were not contracted but bought from creation masters at a high price. This also caused the Spirit Chi professionals who were piloting the flying fays to be unable to have perfect control over their flying fays. If the Guild Alliance did not regulate this, there was bound to be chaos. After sighing, Hu Quan turned his eyes and said to Lin Yuan, tell me to reconsider my proposal to build a Fey carriage. Now that we have so many spatial magnets and floating silver threads, we can already build a supreme-grade Fey carriage. Now that I have so many spatial magnets and floating silver threads, I can create a supreme-grade Fey carriage. Clearly, Hu Quan coveted those spatial soft silver threads and spatial magnets. Upon hearing Hu Quan's words, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and said, "Uncle Hu Quan, since you want to do it, then build the Fey carriage first." Lin Yuan had already made it clear that he wanted to hire a creation master. Sky City only had him and no other creation masters, so it was obviously impossible for it to develop quickly. This was because Lin Yuan's current problem of not being able to upgrade his phase grade was already an urgent need to be resolved. Otherwise, Lin Yuan could not possibly consume spirit chi crystals to upgrade Hu Quan's vitality sloth. In Lin Yuan's opinion, if he wanted to rope in a creation master, he had to rope in a Class 4 creation master. A Class 3 creation master could not solve many practical problems. In Lin Yuan's opinion, if he wanted to rope in a creation master, he would need to rope in a Class 4 creation master. A Class 3 creation master wouldn't be able to solve many practical problems. Sitting on the soft feather unicorn's back and looking down from a high altitude, Lin Yuan felt very comfortable. The soft feather unicorn was a very high-end Fey. It was small, fast, and very comfortable to ride. It had horns on its head and scales on its wings. Its feathers were yellow and had a hint of auspiciousness. The soft feather unicorn was a very high-end Fey. It was small, fast, and very comfortable to ride on. The soft feather unicorn in charge of picking up the passengers were all gold. Lin Yuan checked the 10 soft feather unicorn in charge of picking up the passengers and found that 4 of them were flawless. As they got closer to the Radiant Light Palace, there were more soft feather unicorn in the sky. When Lin Yuan could see the Radiant Light Palace, he was surrounded by many soft feather unicorn. If Lin Yuan had to use 2 words to describe the scene in front of him, Lin Yuan really had to hesitate for a while and did not know if he should use prosperous or lively. Lin Yuan had been in the royal capital for a long time, but he did not have many opportunities to walk around in the royal capital. Therefore, he had never seen the Radiant Light Palace before. When Lin Yuan knew that the Radiant Light Palace had 20 seats, he felt that it might be very crowded. However, after seeing the scale of the Radiant Light Palace, Lin Yuan felt that it could accommodate 600,000 people at the same time. Nighttime. Seeking recommendation votes and monthly votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 608. The soft feather unicorn landed, and Lin Yuan met up with everyone. Lu Jie said as he took out the ticket from his pocket. "Young master, the ticket I took is the Radiance 100 Sequences internal ticket. It's considered a benefit that the Guild Alliance gives to the Radiance 100 Sequence members. With the tickets, we don't have to wait here for the staff of the Palace of Glow to arrange for us to enter. We can go directly to the special passage." Lin Yuan felt comfortable being blown by the wind in the sky. He stretched in satisfaction and followed Lu Jie to walk inside through the special passage. At this moment, Chu Si suddenly called out and pointed to the side. "Look, there are masks over there. Why don't we each buy a mask and wear it inside?" Everyone looked in the direction Chu Si was pointing and immediately saw a stall selling all kinds of masks. Most of these masks were engraved with the logo of the various clubs and guild, as well as cartoon portraits of the club members. Everyone walked to the front of the stall and suddenly saw a silver mask on the stall. The mother of Bloodbath reached out to pick up the silver mask, and everyone subconsciously looked at Lin Yuan. Upon sensing everyone's gaze, Lin Yuan scratched his head awkwardly. Seeing that everyone had the intention to buy, the stall owner immediately introduced. "You know Black, right? He's the little hero who fought his way to the Celestial Stairway, the one who achieved everything on the Celestial Stairway. There aren't many of these masks in stock. I had to work overtime to urge a few Class 1 spirit craftsmen to rush the production. They're all made of stainless steel and plated with a layer of bronze-grade spirit material, clear silver." The mother of Bloodbath asked directly, "Boss, I want this mask. How much is one?" The boss smiled honestly and stretched out his hand. 10 radiance dollars each. Lin Yuan looked at the stall owner's honest smile and felt that the owner's heart was black. However, the mother of Bloodbath clearly did not care about this and directly traded 100 radiance dollars to the vendor. Then he put the silver mask on his face. Chu Si smiled as she reached for a silver mask and put it on her face. At the same time, he handed one to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan, you look like black the most when you wear this mask, right? Upon hearing Chu Si's words, the stall owner interrupted. This little brother looks kind. He doesn't have that cold aura. He doesn't look like this little brother when he wears it. It's just that this little brother is slightly shorter. Lin Yuan saw the stall owner point his finger at Listen and realized that Listen's eyes were really somewhat similar to his after wearing the mask. Chu Si often browsed the Star Web and was a frequent visitor to the Star Web video library. Even though he had never told her that he was black, Chu Si knew that he was black. However, when Chu Si saw Black's battle, she immediately recognized Chimey. In fact, even if there was no Chimey, as a family member who had been with Lin Yuan for over a decade, Chimey would still be able to help Lin Yuan. She could recognize him just by looking at his eyes behind the mask. It was precisely because she knew Black's identity that she was not complacent when she was regarded as the most talented genius of the younger generation on Star Web. Instead, it was because he knew that there were still many areas for him to work on. He put the silver mask back and felt that he was too narcissistic for wearing his own mask. Suddenly, Lin Yuan saw an inconspicuous mask in the back corner. He had some impression of the person on the mask. It seemed that his first Celestial Stairway promotion duel was against this Spirit Chi professional. Furthermore, he had encountered this Spirit Chi professional in the Class 3 Abyss Dimensional Rift, so it could be considered fate. Lin Yuan recalled that this person's name seemed to be Chen Hongfeng. Lin Yuan put on Chen Hongfeng's mask on his face. He walked all the way through the special passage. Lin Yuan found that there was a Spirit Chi professional wearing the Radiant Light Palace's staff uniform every 100 meters on both sides of the passage. These Spirit Chi professionals were the attendants of the Radiant Light Palace. Looking at the densely packed attendants, Lin Yuan knew that this all-star match might be a grand carnival and carnival, but the all-star match would be a grand carnival. However, the requirements for order were also extremely strict. If there were any special incidents, there would be an attendant every 100 meters who could rush over in time to deal with the emergency. After leaving the special passage, I arrived at the resting area of the club guild members. After passing through the resting areas of the various club guilds, they arrived at the official venue. In reality, the special passage was set up mainly for the players of the club guilds participating in the all-star competition. Chu Si looked around curiously along the way. Upon seeing Chu Si's curious look, Lin Yuan reached out to touch her head. He pressed down the erect hogue on Chu Si's head and said, "You are a defense-type Spirit Chi professional. In the future, you will also form your own team. At that time, you will also be able to participate in team battles." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Chu Si looked at him with sparkling eyes and asked, "Lin Yuan, can I form a team with you?" "Lin Yuan, can I form a team with you?" Before Lin Yuan could speak, Lu Jie, who was beside Chu Si, spoke up. "Young Master has also established a club guild. Next year's all-star competition will also be held after the quarterfinals. If we go smoothly in next year's S tournament, we will also appear in the list of invited guilds for the all-star competition." Upon hearing Lu Jie's words, Chu Si's eyes lit up even more. She quickly changed her words to Lin Yuan. "Big brother, can I join your club guild?" Upon hearing Chu Si's words, Lin Yuan was startled. Chu Si was his younger sister, and Lin Yuan had always subconsciously treated Chu Si as a little girl who needed his care. Previously, when choosing teammates for the club guild, Lin Yuan had subconsciously excluded Chu Si. However, it was undeniable that Chu Si was already very strong. Moreover, compared to other Spirit Chi professionals of similar strength, Chu Si had an advantage in terms of potential. Moreover, Chu Si had a master like Cold Moon. Lin Yuan really did not know what level Chu Si's strength would reach in a year's time. In fact, just now, Chu Si's Silver V/Fantasy Breed Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's strength was already comparable to most Gold Fays. Moreover, the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull was not a Fantasy I Fey but a Fantasy 2 Fey. The Fantasy 2 quality allowed the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull to clash with most peak Gold/Legend Fays. In terms of the strength of her main Fey, Chu Si's strength could be said to have surpassed Lisan's. After Chu Si got used to the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's exclusive skill, Cold Moon would raise its grade and quality. Even without Lin Yuan's help, the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's grade and quality would be raised by Cold Moon. In that case, Chu Si was now qualified to join Lin Yuan's club guild. First update, asking for monthly votes and recommendation votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 609. Since Chu Si had made a request, and her strength had also reached the standard, Chu Si's strength had already reached the standard. Lin Yuan naturally would not refuse. No problem, but you still have to focus on your studies. You can't fall behind. Chu Si hurriedly nodded and patted her chest. Lin Yuan, don't worry. I can be a reserve member first and try to improve my strength in 1 year. Upon hearing Chu Si's words, Lisan, who was wearing a silver mask and looked very much like black, revealed a bitter smile. Lisan felt that he was quite talented, but after joining the Dome Guild Club, he increasingly felt that his strength was insufficient. In particular, after hearing Chu Si's words, Lisan felt even more pressured. Lisan had been loyal to Lin Yuan for a long time and knew how many resources he had. Even if she was not very talented, just the resources in Lin Yuan's hands were enough for her to have strength far beyond her peers. Moreover, she was the #1 genius of the Radiance Federation's younger generation on Star Web. Recently, Lisan had been busy managing the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce and had slacked off in training his combat skills. Lisan had made up his mind. In the future, even if he had to sleep 2 hours less every day, he would hone his combat skills and improve his strength. The resting rooms of the club guilds in front of him all had the emblem of the various club guilds. It was easy to tell which guild club this lounge belonged to. The lounge of an A-rank guild club was at least 3 times larger than that of a B-rank guild club. Especially in terms of the decorations and designs, it showed that the A-grade clubs were far superior to the B-grade clubs. It revealed the superiority of an A-ranked club guild. Regardless of whether it was the lounge of an A-rank guild club or a B-rank guild club, the design style of the lounge was translucent. Aside from the closed combat meeting room in the lounge, one could see the activities of the guild members in the rest of the room through the transparent walls. Chu Si was not a fan of celebrities, but when she saw many Radiance 100 sequence members in the guild club, she could not help but feel excited. Chu Si couldn't help but feel excited. Seeing this, Lu Jie pondered for a moment and suggested, "This year's Radiance 100 sequence selection will be conducted on Star Web using a special selection method. Even the elimination process will be broadcasted on Star Web. Chu Si, you can watch it if you're interested." Compared to the All-Star competition, it was obvious that the Radiance 100 sequence selection was more attractive to her. When Lin Yuan saw the excitement and seriousness in Chu Si's expression, he knew that she wanted to know more about the Radiance 100 sequence selection besides watching the show. This was because the Radiance 100 sequence was also her current goal as a spirit chi professional. Chu Si was filled with anticipation and excitement when she heard Lu Jie's words. More than that, he was puzzled. Big Brother Lu, in the past Radiance 100 sequence selections, didn't we only see people who had gone through the elimination process and the original sequence members from sequence 90 to 100 compete in the arena? How come I can even watch the elimination process now? Lu Jie shook his head gently when he heard her question. As a Radiance 100 sequence member, Lu Jie naturally had some insider information. Lu Jie had mentioned it to him before. However, what puzzled Lu Jie was that the Radiance Sacred Hall had not disclosed the follow-up news and had kept it a secret. He was afraid that this secret would only be announced when the Radiance 100 elimination competition was going to take place. I heard that this time, the Guild Alliance will be able to apply for the Radiant Light Palace as the venue for the All-Star competition. A large part of the reason is that the Radiance Sacred Hall wants to use the participation of the Radiance 100 sequence members in the various A and B guild clubs to warm up for the new Radiance 100 selection. Otherwise, no matter how much the Guild Alliance invested, they wouldn't be able to apply for permission to host the All-Star Carnival at the Palace of Glow. At most, it will be the same as last year's S Tournament Finals, applying for the Hall of Starlight. Upon hearing Lu Jie's words, Lin Yuan felt that the Radiance 100 sequence selection this time would not be simple. As he walked, he found himself passing by the lounge with the emblem of the Extreme Guild Club on the wall in front of him. Lin Yuan looked through the transparent glass wall and looked inside the Extreme Guild Club. In the end, he did not see any of the four of them. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw someone wearing the Extreme Guild Club's uniform walking toward the club's lounge. Lin Yuan hurriedly stepped forward and asked, "Excuse me, is Zhang Xiaobai in the lounge? I want to talk to him." The person Lin Yuan called was a short-haired youth with pockmarks on his face. Upon hearing Lin Yuan mention Zhang Xiaobai, the short-haired youth with pockmarks on his face showed a complicated expression. Zhang Xiaobai is no longer a member of the Extreme Guild Club's reserve team. Zhang Xiaobai has terminated his contract with the Extreme Guild Club and left. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan was about to ask about Xening, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru. He found that the short-haired youth with freckles on his face ignored him and turned to walk into the lounge. Lin Yuan's brows were tightly knitted together. Lin Yuan saw that the pockmarked, short-haired youth was wearing the Extreme Guild Club's uniform with a reserve team member's identity card. The youth with pockmarks on his face had a hidden trace of joy and schadenfreude in his complicated expression. In Lin Yuan's opinion, it was very likely that Zhang Xiaobai had terminated his contract with the Extreme Guild Club. This pockmarked youth had the opportunity to become a member of the Extreme Guild Club's reserve team. After all, there were only 5 main and reserve team members that could be officially declared by the Guild Alliance. However, most of the guild clubs would nurture many reserve talents so that they could fill in time once there were vacancies. Lin Yuan had only guessed that something had happened to Zhang Xiaobai and the others, but he did not expect it to be so big. Zhang Xiaobai, Xening, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's daily lives as spirit chi professionals revolved around the Extreme Guild Club. They completed the missions arranged by the Extreme Guild Club day after day. At the same time, they trained and participated in the S tournament year after year. Not long ago, when Lin Yuan had chatted with Zhang Xiaobai and the others, Zhang Xiaobai had said that he was ready to play in the S tournament in the Extreme Guild Club until he was 30 years old. When he reached the upper limit required by the Guild Alliance, he would then transform into a full-time mercenary. In just a few short days, what had happened to completely change Zhang Xiaobai's mind? The second was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 610. The Extreme Guild Club did not treat Zhang Xiaobai and the others well. However, Zhang Xiaobai and the others had always been very concerned about the Extreme Guild Club. Wen Yu walked to Lin Yuan's side and asked softly, "Young master, do you want me to check the reason?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan shook his head and replied, "No need. I'll make a call and ask first." Originally, Lin Yuan thought that if he could meet Zhang Xiaobai at the all-star match, Xening and the others would ask. Lin Yuan had thought that if he could meet Zhang Xiaobai at the all-star match, he would ask Xening and the others. However, Lin Yuan did not expect that Zhang Xiaobai had actually withdrawn from the Extreme Guild Club. This made Lin Yuan want to immediately ask Zhang Xiaobai what had happened. Just as Lin Yuan picked up his cell phone and was about to call Zhang Xiaobai, in the distance, several staff members were dealing with a dispute between two youths. In the distance, several staff members were dealing with a dispute between two young men. Lin Yuan took a closer look and found that the youth whose phone was ringing in his pocket was Zhang Xiaobai. Although they were very far apart, Lin Yuan could see the abnormal anger on Zhang Xiaobai's unruly face. Lin Yuan took a closer look and found that the youth whose phone was ringing in his pocket was Zhang Xiaobai. The youth who was confronting Zhang Xiaobai was very strong and was a head taller than Zhang Xiaobai. His arms were thicker than Zhang Xiaobai's thighs. Zhang Xiaobai was already 1.85 meters tall and was considered a taller existence among the Radiance Federation's spirit chi professionals. The sturdy man stood there like a black iron tower. However, this black iron tower-like strong man's eyes were looking at Zhang Xiaobai with obvious mockery and mockery. Zhang Xiaobai was also trying his best to restrain his emotions. He clenched and released his fists, and the veins on his forehead were bursting out. Lu Jie could keenly sense the change in Lin Yuan's emotions and walked to his side. "Young master, Do you know the person in front? It's a serious problem to cause trouble in the Radiance Sacred Hall. It's best not to blow things up. Otherwise, it will affect the guild that is participating in the all-star match. If young master knows him, I can go and deal with it. Lu Jie did not know Zhang Xiaobai and did not know that Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai had once guarded Millstone Town and experienced life and death together. However, Lu Jie knew that this matter had gotten out of hand when he saw that 6 staff members of the Radiant Light Temple had surrounded them. Otherwise, an ordinary conflict would only be handled by 2 staff members at most. Upon closer inspection, Lu Jie saw an indistinct red mark on the towering man's face. From the looks of it, there had already been a physical altercation. Lin Yuan's brows were tightly knitted behind his mask. Lin Yuan knew Zhang Xiaobai very well, and he was not a troublemaker. Therefore, there must be a reason for such a situation to occur. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw the black tower-like sturdy man step forward and say something to Zhang Xiaobai. At that moment, Lin Yuan keenly noticed that Zhang Xiaobai's body was constantly leaning toward the burly man. Lin Yuan thought, not good. Zhang Xiaobai was probably unable to control his emotions after hearing the words of the black iron tower-like man. If the conflict between Zhang Xiaobai and Zhang Xiaobai in the Palace of Glow could be said to be over after several staff members dealt with it. However, if Zhang Xiaobai made trouble in front of the 6 staff members of the Palace of Glow, it would be tantamount to provoking the staff members of the Palace of Glow, and the nature of the matter would become serious. Let's go and take a look together. After speaking, Lin Yuan quickly walked toward the site of the conflict. Just as Zhang Xiaobai clenched his fist and was ready to throw it out recklessly, he found that his wrist was held by someone, and a familiar voice sounded in his ear. Xiaobai, what's the situation? Zhang Xiaobai, whose wrist was suddenly held by Lin Yuan, suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. He realized that he had been too impulsive just now. Zhang Xiaobai obviously did not expect to meet Lin Yuan here and wanted to smile at Lin Yuan. However, when the smile appeared on his face, it turned into a bitter smile. At that moment, the black iron tower-like sturdy man spoke in a low, muffled voice. Since the conflict was not initiated by me, I will also go back and prepare for a combat meeting. After getting the consent of the 6 Palace of Glow staff members, the black iron tower-like sturdy man looked at Zhang Xiaobai with eyes full of mockery and playfulness. Hee, you still have friends? If you have friends, why don't you think about how to borrow some money from them? Give me the money, and I'll put away the things that need to be put away. It won't delay your business. After saying that, the sturdy man turned around and walked toward the lounge on the side. Unbeknownst to the burly man, he was being scrutinized by Lu Jie as he turned around and walked into the lounge. After taking a few glances at the tower-like man, Lu Jie couldn't help but look at Zhang Xiaobai with sympathy. Lin Yuan let go of Zhang Xiaobai's wrist. Little White, you need a lot of money. I have some here. When Zhang Xiaobai heard Lin Yuan's words, his heart warmed. But then Zhang Xiaobai shook his head and said, "It's not as simple as money." As he spoke, Zhang Xiaobai's eyes turned red. At this moment, a solemn voice suddenly sounded. Former Extreme Guild Club Reserve team member Zhang Xiaobai, right? You initiated an attack on Meng Su, a member of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's main force in the resting area, am I right? Right after this solemn voice sounded, Lu Jie, who was standing behind Lin Yuan, stepped forward and took off his mask. I'm Radiance 100 Sequence 30, Lu Jie. This person is my friend. He had a small conflict with a member of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. He already knows his mistake. Let's settle this in private. There will be no conflict in the Palace of Glow. When the 6 staff members saw Lu Jie, they looked at each other. The staff member who spoke just now said to Lu Jie, "Since that's the case, please don't do it again." After that, the 6 staff members of the Palace of Glow returned to their original areas, ready to deal with any accidents that might happen next. Upon seeing that Zhang Xiaobai had something to say to him but did not know how to say it, Lin Yuan patted him on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry. Xiaobai was doing fine in the Extreme Guild Club previously. Why did she suddenly decide to leave the Extreme Guild Club?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zhang Xiaobai pursed his lips tightly and said after a long while, "Lin Yuan, can you lend me 300,000 radiance dollars?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan took out his star web card. Before Lin Yuan could speak, Lu Jie walked to Zhang Xiaobai's side and asked, "Were your teammates injured by Meng Su from the Barbarian Snake Guild Club and had their senses stolen by Meng Su's contracted sensory theft Kingu? Are they lying in the hospital like vegetative people now?" The third one. End of chapter. Chapter 611. Lu Jie's words made Lin Yuan's hand, which was holding onto the star web card, pause. A person relied on spiritual energy to control the human body's movements, while the five senses were tools for spiritual energy to control the human body's movements and cognition of the surroundings. Depriving the five senses was akin to stealing a person's hearing, sight, smell, taste, and touch. Without these five senses, even if one's spiritual energy and soul were not depleted, one would still sink into the endless darkness. Zhang Xiaobai looked at Lu Jie in a daze and nodded gratefully to Lu Jie. It could be said that Zhang Xiaobai and Lu Jie were very similar people, just like how Zhang Xiaobai had protected Millstone Town and how Lu Jie had resisted the insect tide outside Cold Frost City. Among the Radiance 100 sequence, Zhang Xiaobai liked many people. However, apart from liking Lu Jie, Zhang Xiaobai respected him more. His idol was standing at the side and helping him out. If it was any other time, Zhang Xiaobai would have jumped 3 feet high. His mouth was like an old lady's cotton pants, chattering nonstop. But now, Zhang Xiaobai's mood was getting heavier, and he felt helpless at the same time. Originally, Zhang Xiaobai did not want to involve Lin Yuan. The Barbaric Snake Guild Club was a veteran B-grade guild club without the Radiance Hundred's backing, and the power behind it should not be underestimated. However, when Lu Jie mentioned Meng Su and his contracted Fei, the Steel Perception King Gu, Zhang Xiaobai started to talk. He poured out everything that had happened during this period of time. 4 days ago, Lady White Devil unilaterally terminated the contract with the Extreme Guild Club. As a result, 3 members of the main team were unable to participate in the top 16 duel. The 4 of us arranged to go up. When that damn Wei Chong was accumulating his abilities, he actually asked Lu Pinru to help him block the damage. Lu Pinru is a defense-type spirit chi professional, and Wei Chong is a scoundrel. Zhang Xiaobai was originally a chatterbox, and it was rare for him to calm down. After holding it in for 4 days, he could no longer hold back his chatterbox. The more Lin Yuan listened, the tighter his frown became. Lin Yuan had always known that there was a problem with the Extreme Guild Club, but he did not expect it to be so huge. In combat, the captain of a small team was usually the commander, and the captain's will would greatly affect the team's combat style. It could be said that the captain's words were in order. Zhang Xiaobai, Tan Ran, Lu Pinru, and Xian Ying were replaced by 4 of the main team members who were unable to attend the match. This was a match that they were bound to lose. Wei Chong, as the team leader, had ordered Lu Pinru to use her body to block the attack. This meant that Wei Chong did not care about Lu Pinru's safety at all. The duels in the real world were different from the Celestial Stairway duels on Star Web. In the Celestial Stairway duels, some Fays could use suicidal attacks at will in exchange for victory. However, in a real battle, any collision had to be handled with extreme caution. Every serious injury caused by a collision would require them to look for a creation master for treatment after the competition. In some serious cases, spirit chi professionals and Fays had even died. Lin Yuan now roughly understood why Zhang Xiaobai had quit the Extreme Guild Club. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai continued speaking. When Lu Pinru helped Wei Chong block the attack, she wasn't wearing any silk clothing at all. At that time, apart from me, Wei Chong took all of the silk clothing that Lu Pinru had made. In Wei Chong's team, what's the use of so many silk clothing for a combat-type spirit chi professional with high-explosive long-range elemental damage? Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan could not help but interrupt. Wei Chong was wearing so many of Lu Pinru's clothes. How could he let Lu Pinru help block the attack? Lin Yuan had worn the hard armor silk clothing woven by Lu Pinru's Fei, lustrous weaver silkworm. Lin Yuan had a deep understanding of the hard armor silk clothing's defense. Just a layer of the hard armor silk clothing's defense should be able to match the damage that a support-type spirit chi professional like Lu Pinru could withstand, right? Upon hearing Lin Yuan's question, Zhang Xiaobai's expression turned into deep worry. The Fey that attacked Wei Chong was the soul-crushing spike from the Savage Snake Guild Club's main team leader's Fey, the soul-crushing hedgehog. The soul-crushing spike's speed is not fast, and even I can dodge it. However, Wei Chong clearly could have dodged it, but he didn't. Wei Chong was bound to lose, but he still wanted to use the continue ability, wanting to replace a member of the Savage Snake Guild Club to increase his stats in the tournament. When the tournament was about to end, Meng Su used the Sense Theft King Gu to steal Lu Pinru's, Xian Ying's, and Tan Rant's senses. It's fine that Xian Ying's and Tan Rant's senses were stolen. When Meng Su controlled the Sense Theft King Gu to fight, he would always release Xian Ying's and Tan Rant's senses in order to free up the Sense Theft King Gu's 5 senses. But Lu Pinru's soul was already injured, and she had lost her 5 senses. How could she withstand it? Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan clenched his fists tightly. Among all the Feys, only an extremely small number of Feys could cause damage to the soul. People had always been wary of Feys that could cause damage to the soul. A damaged soul was definitely a fatal blow to a spirit chi professional. Apart from feeling the intense pain at the soul level, the spirit chi professional's grade would not be able to increase before the soul injury was healed. If a creation master's soul spirit was injured, before the soul spirit recovered, no matter how talented they would be stuck at the pinnacle of Class 3 creation masters. A Class 4 creation master's technique already involved the usage of soul spirit power. The excruciating pain in the soul was unbearable, no matter how strong-willed one was. On the other hand, the 5 senses dominated by mental power could effectively share the pain when the soul was in pain. However, Lu Pinru had been deprived of her 5 senses. She could only slowly savor the pain and torment that came from her soul in the darkness of imprisonment. It was fine if it was only for a short period of time, but if it continued for a long period of time, his spirit and soul would collapse under the torture of the soul pain. At that time, Lu Pinru would be finished. At that moment, Lin Yuan felt his sleeve being pulled. He turned his head and found Chu Si, who was wearing a silver mask, looking at him. He saw anger and worry in her eyes. Lin Yuan patted Chu Si's hand and asked Zhang Xiaobai in a deep voice. So, 300,000 radiance dollars is the price for Meng Su to release Lu Pinru, Xianing, and Tan Rant's 5 senses? Zhang Xiaobai gritted his teeth and said. Meng Su knew that Lu Pinru's soul spirit was injured, so he continued to release the 5 senses trapped in the Sense Theft King Gu. 300,000 is the price Meng Su offered to release Lu Pinru's 5 senses. First more. Seeking recommendation votes and monthly votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 612. Having said that, Zhang Xiaobai wanted to raise his fist and punch the wall next to the Palace of Glow. Zhang Xiaobai could not bear the feeling of being bullied and taking advantage of the situation. However, when Zhang Xiaobai felt the cold eyes of the staff of the Palace of Glow not far away, he was so scared that he quickly withdrew his fist and said with hatred, "If not for the fact that there's no one to take care of the 3 of them right now, I would really want to fight it out with Meng Su." Back in the Xia region, Lin Yuan had climbed up step by step. For more than a decade, he had been leading Chu Si through the trivialities of life alone, and it was not rare for him to be bullied by others. Therefore, Lin Yuan could understand Zhang Xiaobai's feelings very well. "Xiaobai, didn't the Extreme Guild Club help you deal with this?" Zhang Xiaobai pretended to be indifferent and shrugged. However, Lin Yuan realized that Zhang Xiaobai's voice had changed a little. "It's not that we're not doing anything, but this matter involves the main member, Wei Chong. We also encountered Captain White Devil withdrawing from the Extreme Guild Club and terminating his contract with the Extreme Guild Club. The management of the Extreme Guild Club knows that they might not even make it to the top 32 with their current strength next year. Therefore, the Extreme Guild Club doesn't want to offend the Savage Snake Guild Club, which has been in the top 16 for the past few years. Plus, Lu Pinru's soul is injured. After weighing the pros and cons, The union has decided to increase my Xian Ying's and Tan Rant's benefits. They haven't given any specific treatment plan for Lu Pinru. At the same time, I have also arranged for a support-type spirit chi professional in the reserve team. What's the point of staying in a guild like this? Zhang Xiaobai's tone became deeper and deeper. As he spoke, Zhang Xiaobai's eyes turned red. After saying that, Zhang Xiaobai sighed softly. This sigh spat out all of Zhang Xiaobai's longing and hard work in the Extreme Guild Club, despite the trials and tribulations he had faced. Apart from a few guild clubs that were established by Radiant's 100 sequence members and focus on results, there aren't many guild clubs. Many club guilds have powerful forces supporting them, so they value profit more than anything else. No one knew if Lu Jie was comforting Zhang Xiaobai when he said that. He was still explaining the situation to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan nodded at Lu Jie's words. Lin Yuan ran his faction, Sky City, so he naturally knew the importance of profits. However, in Lin Yuan's heart, some things were always more important than pure interests. At that moment, Lu Jie continued to speak. Meng Su of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club has been doing similar things for the past few years. The other main members of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club also know about Meng Su's actions. Lu Jie's words were filled with disgust for the Barbarian Club. Lin Yuan didn't quite understand, no matter how the factions weighed their interests. However, the Guild Alliance couldn't just ignore a tumor like the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, right? I remember that the Guild Alliance has very strict requirements for the S tournament clubs. Surely someone has reported this situation to the Guild Alliance? Lu Jie snorted coldly at the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's lounge. After the theft sense king insect steals the 5 senses, it can release the 5 senses at any time. Even if someone reports the Barbarian Snake Guild, before the Guild Alliance can investigate the Barbarian Snake Guild, the theft sense king insect will release the 5 senses imprisoned in its body. Out of all the B-rank club guilds, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club should be the only guild that isn't popular at all. Instead, it's hated. Last year, when the All-Stars drew lucky spectators, the lucky spectator that the Barbarian Snake Guild Club drew didn't choose to participate in a mentoring battle but a challenge. That lucky spectator was immediately beaten up by the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's representative, and his Fae was severely injured. This incident caused the Barbarian Snake Guild Club to almost not be able to participate in this year's All-Stars. When you had been standing quietly at the side, listening to Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai's conversation and feeling Lin Yuan's intentions. After sensing that Lin Yuan wanted to interfere in this matter, she took a step forward and walked in front of Lin Yuan. "Young master, do you want me to stop the All-Stars and get the Guild Alliance to investigate the Barbarian Snake Guild Club immediately?" Zhang Xiaobai was originally immersed in all sorts of negative emotions. However, when he heard the female voice that suddenly appeared beside Lin Yuan, he almost couldn't breathe. "Fuck, big sister, are you speaking human words? Aren't you being too pretentious? How could a competition like the All-Stars be stopped so casually?" She even had to instruct the Guild Alliance to investigate. Zhang Xiaobai was very clear about what kind of organization the Guild Alliance was. How could the Guild Alliance listen to a single person's command and interfere with the All-Stars that the Guild Alliance had meticulously planned? Wasn't this the same as a person using a pair of scissors to cut his meticulously woven clothes? If Zhang Xiaobai didn't know Lin Yuan's identity as black, and was Lin Yuan's comrade-in-arms who had gone through life and death with him, Zhang Xiaobai was afraid that he would turn around and leave at this moment, wanting to stay far away from the mental patient. However, for some reason, Zhang Xiaobai felt that the girl's words just now had an indescribable air of nobility and matter-of-fact. It was as though it was extremely easy to say those words, as natural and simple as drinking water. The insensitive Zhang Xiaobai also came back to his senses and couldn't help but start to guess Lin Yuan's identity. At that moment, Zhang Xiaobai's cell phone rang. After Zhang Xiaobai picked up the phone, his expression became anxious. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Xiaobai hurriedly said, "Something happened at the treatment center. There's a situation at the treatment center. I need to go back and take a look." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan turned around and said to the people around him, "You guys go to the venue to watch the competition first. I will go to the treatment center with Zhang Xiaobai to take a look. When I come back, I will go straight to the seats to look for you guys." When Zhang Xiaobai heard Lin Yuan's words, his heart suddenly warmed up, and he couldn't help but pat Lin Yuan's shoulder hard. He shouted, "Good brother," and once again attracted the attention of the Radiant Light Palace's staff. After explaining to everyone, Lin Yuan and Zhang Xiaobai walked out of the Radiant Light Palace. On the other hand, the mother of Bloodbath was like a shadow that followed closely behind him. Along the way, Zhang Xiaobai's mood was still very heavy. Suddenly, he heard a strange and pleasant voice. "How do you think a kidney should be roasted to be delicious?" When Zhang Xiaobai saw that there was a person following Lin Yuan, he only thought that it was Lin Yuan's friend. As the person was wearing a silver mask, Zhang Xiaobai could only tell that it was a woman based on her hair. Zhang Xiaobai was a little curious. How did this woman know that I like to eat kidneys and has some research on it? Could it be that I have eaten too much and can tell from my face? The second one was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 613. On the soft feather unicorn's back, Lin Yuan was still thinking about Lu Pinru's soul injury. Soul injuries were extremely difficult to heal, and most of the things that could heal them were very precious. They were no longer in the category of ordinary spiritual ingredients. However, Lin Yuan happened to have something that could heal soul injuries. It was the cold snow pines tree sap. However, the cold snow pines tree sap could only be considered a half-finished product for healing soul injuries. It still needed to use pure fire elemental energy to roast the cold snow pine sap into cold snow pine fragrance. Therefore, Lin Yuan was not worried that Lu Pinru would collapse due to the loss of her 5 senses. This time, Lin Yuan would follow Zhang Xiaobai to the treatment center because he wanted to heal Lu Pinru's soul injury as soon as possible. He wanted to let Lu Pinru suffer less. As for the 5 senses that had been stolen by the Steel Perception King Gu, Lin Yuan had 100 ways to help Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran get them back. Upon hearing the Mother of Bloodbath's question to Zhang Xiaobai, Lin Yuan knew that the Mother of Bloodbath's gourmet habit was acting up again. Back in Millstone Town, the Mother of Bloodbath had always been on his body. As a third party, the Mother of Bloodbath had seen everything that had happened more clearly than Lin Yuan. Although Zhang Xiaobai did not know the Mother of Bloodbath, the Mother of Bloodbath was very familiar with him. The Mother of Bloodbath, who was passionate about food, was thinking about the kidney that Zhang Xiaobai had been saying was fragrant. Zhang Xiaobai's heart was heavy and he did not like to talk much. When it came to food, the Mother of Bloodbath, which was usually a quiet person, became more talkative. This complementation allowed Zhang Xiaobai and the Mother of Bloodbath to exchange their experiences and insights on the topic of the kidney. Lin Yuan shook his head. If the Mother of Bloodbath really did as Zhang Xiaobai said and tried the tender kidney that was 30% ripe, Zhang Xiaobai would probably be beaten up by the Mother of Bloodbath afterward. When they arrived at the treatment center, Zhang Xiaobai led Lin Yuan to Xing, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran, who were lying motionless on the bed as if they were in a deep sleep. Inside the treatment center, there was a woman holding a scepter, and a cage hung at the front of the scepter. There was a green butterfly in the cage. He was confronting an old man with messy clothes and a messy beard. Upon seeing Zhang Xiaobai come in, the old man with a messy beard shouted at him. "White kid, you asked me to help heal your phase damaged roots. Now, you're looking for a healing-type spirit chi professional. What's the meaning of this? You don't believe in this old man's skills?" Zhang Xiaobai hurriedly apologized to the disheveled old man with messy clothes and a black beard. "Sorry, Master Hong Shen. This is our team leader." When Zhang Xiaobai answered the phone, he heard Master Hong Shen say that someone was causing trouble in the treatment center and that he was not going to treat them. However, he didn't expect that the person who came would be Lady White Devil, who had spent a lot of money to terminate the contract with the Extreme Club. "Sister Daisy, why did you come to this place?" White Devil didn't immediately answer Zhang Xiaobai's question. Instead, she glared at the disheveled and unkempt god Hong Shen. "Old man, don't you recognize me?" Master Hong Shen rolled his eyes. Motherfucker, you've asked me several times, who are you? Do I have to recognize you? Just as Master Hong Shen finished speaking, he saw the strange woman who was carrying a cage on the street giggling at him before responding with a hee-hee sound. Master Hong Shen's face immediately flushed with anger. God knew how much this narcissistic woman had taken advantage of his catchphrase. White Devil looked at Zhang Xiaobai apologetically and said, I've heard about the four of you. I've heard about what happened to the four of you. If I hadn't terminated the contract with the Extreme Club, the four of you wouldn't have been replaced. Zhang Xiaobai quickly waved his hand and said, I've heard about the four of you. It has nothing to do with Senior Sister. White Devil reached out and patted Zhang Xiaobai's shoulder. If you want to play in the S tournament, you can still play for another 5 years at your age. I heard that you've also withdrawn from the Extreme Guild Club. It's a smart choice. Why don't you settle down for a year and find a suitable guild club to work hard? Don't be too caught up in the past. Let the past be the past. After speaking, White Devil didn't care about Zhang Xiaobai's reaction. She took out a bronze fey storage box from the butterfly-shaped diamond fey storage box in front of her chest and handed it to Zhang Xiaobai. The lustrous weaver silkworm that you asked me to find should have used up all your savings. This fey storage box contains the lustrous weaver silkworm that you asked me to find and the money you paid me in advance. Take it back first. You should be rather short of money now. You don't have to bother about the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's Meng Su. The all-star match will end today, and I will settle it tomorrow or the day after. After speaking, White Devil looked at the sleeping Lu Pinru with pity and left the infirmary. Zhang Xiaobai wasn't the only one who didn't expect to meet White Devil here. Even Lin Yuan didn't expect that one of the main characters of the duel that had set off his dream half a year ago would appear before him again. When he had watched White Devil and Unknown Flames duel, he had felt that White Devil was a very cold person. He didn't expect White Devil's personality to be the exact opposite of her personality. She was cheerful and gentle, even though this gentleness was only shown in action. However, it was also this gentleness that showed in action that White Devil was a very kind person. From Zhang Xiaobai's performance, Lin Yuan could see that Zhang Xiaobai and White Devil weren't very familiar. They were merely the main force members and reserve members of the same guild club. White Devil was the Radiance 100 sequence number 18 and had a transcendent status. However, she was very considerate towards the reserve members. Especially when Zhang Xiaobai and the others encountered difficulties, she was willing to lend a hand. Just at the end, when White Devil said that she would help settle the Barbarian Snake Guild's problem, it was the same as taking on a rather big problem for herself. All of a sudden, Master Hong Shen's originally relaxed expression changed. His entire body stiffened, and his hands tightly grabbed onto the corner of the table beside him. Bean-sized beads of sweat rolled down Master Hong Shen's forehead. Zhang Xiaobai clearly understood Master Hong Shen's situation and didn't panic. Instead, he took out a small medicine bottle from Master Hong Shen's pocket and poured out a pill to help Master Hong Shen put it into his mouth. Lin Yuan, who was 3 meters away from Master Hong Shen and Zhang Xiaobai, smelled a very bitter taste. At that moment, the mother of Bloodbath, who was beside Lin Yuan, spoke softly. This old man's soul is so severely injured, but he is still able to hold on. How interesting. Part 3. Requesting monthly votes and recommendation votes. Love you guys, my end of this chapter. Chapter 614. When Lin Yuan heard that, he looked at the disheveled Master Hong Shen with surprise. When Lin Yuan had entered, he had noticed that Master Hong Shen was wearing a Class 3 Creation Master crest. Furthermore, the 4th star pattern on the Class 3 Creation Master's crest had risen, indicating that Master Hong Shen's Creation Master ability had reached the pinnacle of a Class 3 Creation Master. It could be said that Master Hong Shen had already reached the limits of a Creation Master when his soul spirit was injured. Only after a long while did Master Hong Shen recover from the intense pain. Master Hong Shen, who came back to his senses, picked up the cup on the table and gulped down the water in the cup before saying to Zhang Xiaobai, "Kid, I have healed the phase with damaged roots that you sent over. However, you can't owe me the money you owe me. As usual, if you don't have enough money, Go dig some bitter fern roots for me when you're out on a mission." Upon hearing the words bitter fern root, Lin Yuan knew what the bitter smell was. It turned out that Master Hong Shen had been relying on the bitter taste of the bitter fern root to suppress the pain in his soul. This was also a good way to use one of the 5 senses, taste, to share the pain of the injured soul. If the tip of an ordinary person's tongue touched the root of the bitter fern, they would feel like they were chewing on coptis for a day. It could be said to be an inhuman torture. However, this kind of pain that ordinary people couldn't bear was actually a relief for people whose souls were injured. Lin Yuan saw that Master Hong Shen was calculating the treatment fees with Zhang Xiaobai. Lu Pinru's 4 lustrous weaver mulberry silkworms had been revived and were spitting out silk threads from their frames. He was about to see if he could rent a room from Master Hong Shen so that he could use the heavenly maiden-grade fire elemental pearls to roast the cold snow pine's tree sap into cold snow pine incense to heal Lu Pinru's soul injury. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard Master Hong Shen say to Zhang Xiaobai, "Get lost, kid. I'm tired. Next time you come, don't forget to dig up a good bitter fern root and bring it to me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come." As he spoke, Master Hong Shen's expression turned ugly again. He hurriedly took out the medicine bottle from his bosom and poured out 2 pills made from the roots of the bitter fern and placed them in his mouth. To resist the pain coming from the depths of his soul, Lin Yuan said to Zhang Xiaobai, who was walking toward him, "Little White, go and rent a place from Master Hong Shen. I'll go and concoct the medicine to heal Lu Pinru's soul." When Zhang Xiaobai heard this, his face immediately showed a look of surprise. Zhang Xiaobai could feel how difficult it was to treat a soul injury just by looking at how Master Hong Shen had been suppressing it with the bitter fern root for so many years without being able to heal it. Originally, Zhang Xiaobai was prepared to wait for Xening and Tan Ran to wake up before going on a mission to raise money and think of a solution for Lu Pinru. If he couldn't raise enough money in a year, he could always think of something after 5 or 10 years. However, he did not expect that Lin Yuan would actually make a move and solve this problem. All of a sudden, Zhang Xiaobai remembered that Lin Yuan was not only a healing class spirit chi professional but also a creation master. Just as Master Hong Shen was about to mock Lin Yuan, he saw the crystal bottle in Lin Yuan's hand. Master Hong Shen's eyes widened in shock. Master Hong Shen wasn't sure what the liquid in the bottle was, but he could tell that the liquid in the bottle was emitting an ice-cold and moist feeling. It had already suppressed the pain in the depths of Master Hong Shen's soul. After the pain disappeared, Master Hong Shen hurriedly spat out the bitter fern root pill that had yet to melt and cursed, "It's really fucking bitter." Zhang Xiaobai was just about to discuss with Master Hong Shen about renting a room in the treatment center when Master Hong Shen's eyes lit up and he took small steps to Lin Yuan's side. "Little handsome brother, can you sell some of the liquid in the bottle to this old man?" "I'll do anything you want me to do." Lin Yuan looked at Master Hong Shen strangely. Lin Yuan rarely came out, and even if he had outstanding looks, there were almost no opportunities for people to call him little handsome brother. However, now that an old man was calling him little handsome brother with greedy eyes, Lin Yuan felt his hair stand up. Especially the last sentence, "I'll do anything you want me to do." It made Lin Yuan rather puzzled. Is he really allowed to do anything? You're already so old. Don't tell me you still have some tricks up your sleeves? When Master Hong Shen saw that Lin Yuan wasn't moved after hearing his request and was only looking at him in astonishment, Master Hong Shen immediately became anxious. He stared at the bottle in Lin Yuan's hand and reached out to snatch it. At this moment, Master Hong Shen felt a chilling pressure pressing down on him, making it difficult for him to breathe. The chilling pressure only appeared for a moment before it was withdrawn. Master Hong Shen glanced fearfully at the woman who was looking at him with a sneer on her face. He then recalled that he had to be tortured by the intense pain in his soul several times a day. Clenching his teeth, he spoke. "If you are willing to sell some of the liquid in the bottle to this old man so that this old man can suppress the damage to his soul, then you can choose any of this old man's wealth. If you can completely heal this old man's soul injury, this old man is willing to work for you." After speaking, Master Hong Shen brushed aside his messy beard and removed a black ring-shaped diamond face storage box that was wrapped in his beard. He solemnly held the black ring-shaped Fey storage box in his hand and handed it to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan looked at the expression on Master Hong Shen's face and thought of the pain he had suffered after his soul trauma flared up. It was as though he suddenly understood why a creation master would be willing to use freedom as a bargaining chip. Lin Yuan shook the milky blue liquid in the bottle and said, "That's right. This is the sap of a suzerain/myth 2 cold snow pine. What do you have that you can trade with me?" When the mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan speak, its eyes flashed with a bright gaze. He knew that Lin Yuan was already coveting this disheveled old man with messy clothes and a black beard. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Master Hong Shen's face sank. He glanced at the black ring on his hand and put it away. Master Hong Shen took a step back and looked at Lin Yuan solemnly. "I might be a pinnacle class 3 creation master now, but I have been stuck at it for 15 years. I believe that after my soul spirit recovers, I will be able to grasp the method to use my soul spirit power to concoct the spirit fluid. In less than half a month, I will be able to become a class 4 creation master." Speaking up to this point, Master Hong Shen tidied up his messy clothes before continuing. "This old man is willing to offer all of my freedom to you, and swear on the willpower rune to become your follower. The first one was even worse." End of chapter. Chapter 6:15. Master Hong Shen didn't hesitate to throw out all his chips. As a person who had to endure pain, it wasn't easy to see a way to get rid of the pain. Naturally, he would want to grab it with all his might. It was like a person who saw light in the darkness and was touched by the light. How would he be willing to retreat into the abyss behind him? When Lin Yuan heard Master Hong Shen's words, his eyes lit up. Lin Yuan was originally only planning to take advantage of Master Hong Shen. In Lin Yuan's subconscious, it was almost impossible for a creation master to swear a willpower rune to follow him. However, Lin Yuan didn't expect Master Hong Shen to self-destruct right after he started to take advantage of him. Master Hong Shen had placed everything he could on the table for Lin Yuan to enjoy. According to Master Hong Shen was only a step away from becoming a Class 4 creation master. If Master Hong Shen could successfully become a Class 4 creation master after healing his soul injury, Sky City would have a true Class 4 creation master overseeing it. As for becoming a Class 4 creation master in a short time, Lin Yuan wasn't sure if Master Hong Shen was telling the truth. Regardless of whether it was true or not, it didn't matter to Lin Yuan. Master Hong Shen was only a pinnacle Class 3 creation master, and Lin Yuan was already willing to use the rosin from the cold snow pine's tree sap as an investment. The cold snow pine's tree sap could heal soul injuries, and it was a treasure that was hard to find. In Lin Yuan's heart, the cold snow pine's tree sap was a kind of collector's item, and it was considered Lin Yuan's trump card. Given Lin Yuan's stingy character, he would never sell such a trump card in his hands. If he could exchange it for a long-term pinnacle Class 3 creation master's labor, it would be worth it. Even if Master Hong Shen didn't become a Class 4 creation master within a short time after his soul was healed, it didn't matter. A pinnacle Class 3 creation master's ability to upgrade phase grades was enough to solve Lin Yuan's current urgent need. A creation master's strength required constant use of spiritual ingredients to concoct spirit liquids and long-term accumulation. Lin Yuan's workload as a creation master was very huge. Putting aside everything else, just the 20 supreme-grade immortal fish and the angelfish of bliss that were about to give birth to their young would require Master Hong Shen to upgrade them to gold. With such a huge workload, Master Hong Shen would probably become even more diligent than Hu Quan. Lin Yuan believed that even if Master Hong Shen was a fool with an IQ of -50,000, he would still be able to familiarize himself with the heavy workload and comprehend the method to use soul spirit power to concoct spirit fluids to become a Class 4 creation master. Since Master Hong Shen would become his follower in the future, there were some things that he had to say first. "You are a pinnacle Class 3 creation master, so you should know the price of the cold snow white pine sap. If I accept you as my follower, you will have to work hard for me to show your value." As Lin Yuan spoke, the mother of Bloodbath looked at him with appreciation. As a spider species Fey, the mother of Bloodbath had always been cold-blooded on its advancement path and had killed countless Feys. Therefore, the mother of Bloodbath could understand Lin Yuan's willingness to use the cold snow pine's tree sap to heal Lu Pinru. They were comrades who had gone through life and death together. However, he felt that Lin Yuan was too willing to pay with his hard-earned capital. When the mother of Bloodbath heard Lin Yuan's request to this slovenly old man in front of it, the mother of Bloodbath knew that when Lin Yuan was giving, there was always a scale weighing in his heart. However, the weight of feelings in Lin Yuan's heart was much higher than that of ordinary people. It was also because of this that the cold-blooded mother of Bloodbath had unknowingly acknowledged Lin Yuan. When Master Hong Shen spoke earlier, he was very apprehensive. A Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master might come into contact with suzerain spiritual ingredients. However, after a suzerain Fey became a myth breed, its spiritual ingredient was not something that a Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master could come into contact with. Furthermore, it was a myth 2 suzerain Fey that could heal the soul. When all his trump cards were placed on the table, Master Hong Shen, who had always thought that he was good, felt for the first time that he was not worthy of using the cold snow pine sap. If this youth was willing to use 5 drops of the cold snow pine's tree sap to find a Class 4 Creation Master to work for him, it should not be a problem to hire a mid-grade Class 4 Creation Master for 2 months. Therefore, Master Hong Shen knew that his only competitive factor was loyalty. Master Hong Shen's loyalty was what Lin Yuan needed the most. The golden lotus brocade stalk that Lin Yuan had mutated from the flower brocade pearls was a huge treasure, and if he wanted to nurture it, he would need the labor of a creation master. The benefits involved in nurturing such a precious mutated Fey population were too great. Without the restriction of the willpower rune oath, Lin Yuan would not be at ease. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Master Hong Shen revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. Master Hong Shen understood that this youth had already agreed to his request and just wanted to squeeze out his labor. As compared to the soul pain that he had to endure every day, squeezing out his labor was simply a kind of enjoyment. Master Hong Shen had lived for so many years and was already a half-buried person. He naturally understood the principle that the more effort he put in, the more rewards he would receive. The busier he was, the more helpful it would be for his creation master strength. The stronger his creation master's strength was, the more attention he would receive from this youth. It was a virtuous cycle that required him to put in hard work. Alright, as long as you can let me rest for 8 hours every day, I can work for 16 hours. Master Hong Shen gritted his teeth and said, I can also contract a vitality sloth. I can also form a contract with a vitality sloth. That way, I can extend my working hours. Lin Yuan hurriedly waved his hand and said, There's no need for a vitality sloth. There's no need for the vitality sloth. You don't have to be so busy working here. However, you still have to guarantee 12 hours of working time. After Master Hong Shen's soul injury was healed, he had to swear on the willpower rune to become Lin Yuan's follower. That would be equivalent to being on Lin Yuan's side. In order for Master Hong Shen to better display his value, Lin Yuan was also planning to pour resources into him. Naturally, he would not let Master Hong Shen contract a useless Fey like the Vitality Sloth that had no limits and could be contracted by anyone. Lin Yuan had a headache about Hu Quan contracting the Vitality Sloth. He originally wanted to ask Hu Quan if there were any Feys suitable for a spirit craftsman that he wanted to contract. In the end, Hu Quan had secretly contracted the Vitality Sloth in order to be able to work hard. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 616. However, this was Hu Quan's own choice, so Lin Yuan could not interfere too much. When Zhang Bai saw everything from Lin Yuan's side, he felt that this world was simply too magical. Why did Master Hong Shen, who had always been ill-tempered, turn into a crazy bootlicker and want to follow Lin Yuan after he took out this bottle of milky blue tree sap? Master Hong Shen was a Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master. At the same time, Zhang Bai looked at Lin Yuan with indescribable gratitude. It was something that could make Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Masters give up their dignity and be willing to exchange loyalty and freedom. Lin Yuan casually wanted to let Lu Pinru use it. Given Zhang Bai's understanding of Lin Yuan, if it weren't for Master Hong Shen's bootlicking, Lin Yuan wouldn't have been able to survive. Zhang Bai felt that even after Lu Pinru's soul injury was healed, Lin Yuan would not mention the value of this bottle of milky blue tree sap. Master Hong Shen eagerly poured out his treatment center's workshop for Lin Yuan. When Lin Yuan walked to the entrance of Master Hong Shen's workshop, he saw all sorts of spiritual ingredients and used potions piled up in a disorderly manner. It was abnormally dirty and messy. Even the air was still filled with the strange smell of a variety of spiritual materials. There was an obvious bitterness in this smell, which should be the smell of bitter fern and fern. Master Hong Shen looked at Lin Yuan awkwardly and smiled. "I'm used to being rude. But don't worry, sir. I'll do my best to tidy up the studio when I work at your place." Lin Yuan looked at Master Hong Shen skeptically. How could it be so easy to change one's nature and habits formed over many years? Presumably, when Master Hong Shen went to the manor, Wen Yu, the housekeeper of the manor, would have a headache about the hygiene of Master Hong Shen's studio. Master Hong Shen asked with a grin when he saw Lin Yuan ignore him and enter the workshop. "Sir, do you need help?" "If you need help, this old man can come in and be Master's assistant, or even help Master operate it." Master Hong Shen didn't sign a contract with him, but Lin Yuan realized that Master Hong Shen was already yelling at him. When Lin Yuan came out this time, there was a Class 2 Creation Master crest hanging on his chest. Lin Yuan noticed that Master Hong Shen's eyes were sneaking glances at the Class 2 Creation Master crest on his chest from time to time, and there was a hint of worry hidden in his eyes. Lin Yuan smiled in his heart. Master Hong Shen wanted to enter the workshop to be Jiang Yi's assistant. Was it because Jiang Yi was a Class 2 Creation Master and was afraid that Jiang Yi would fail and waste the cold snow pines tree sap? "Since you want to come in, then come in. I'm not afraid of being disturbed when concocting the frigid snow pines tree sap." Master Hong Shen panicked. Master Hong Shen didn't know how Lin Yuan was going to concoct the cold snow pines spirit fluid. However, it was common knowledge that a creation master would fail if they were slightly distracted when concocting the spirit fluid. As a creation master, Master Hong Shen understood how terrifying the external interference was when concocting the spirit fluid. Lin Yuan was a Class 2 creation master at such a young age, and Master Hong Shen was now considered half a follower of Lin Yuan. Once Lin Yuan healed his soul injury, he could immediately sign a follower contract with Lin Yuan. Therefore, Master Hong Shen didn't dare to say anything to Lin Yuan. However, Master Hong Shen really wanted to grab Master Lin's collar and ask him how he taught his disciple. Before Master Hong Shen could continue speaking, Lin Yuan had already taken out a box that emitted a jade-like luster. Master Hong Shen could not help but blurt out, "A completely jade-textured parasol wood box." As soon as Master Hong Shen spoke, he immediately shut up awkwardly. However, Master Hong Shen realized that Lin Yuan didn't seem to be affected at all. Instead, he poured the cold snow pines tree sap into the completely jade-textured parasol wood box. Among the various wood-type spiritual ingredients, the jade-textured parasol wood was abnormally compatible with the fire element. Under normal circumstances, the pure fire element wouldn't ignite the completely jade-textured parasol wood. Instead, it would nourish the completely jade-textured parasol wood like spirit chi. Lin Yuan didn't have a ready-made completely jade-textured parasol wood. This parasol wood box was cut from the parasol wood rack in the Spirit Lock spatial zone a few days ago. It was so that he could use it when calcining the cold snow pines tree sap. However, he didn't expect that this completely jade-textured parasol wood box would come in handy not long after it was created. Lin Yuan looked at the milky blue cold snow pines tree sap rippling in the completely jade-textured parasol wood box. Lin Yuan shook his hand and took out 10 9 purity Australian maiden-grade fire elemental pearls. Most of the elemental pearls produced by the bronze legacy elemental shellfish in the Spirit Lock spatial zone contained beads. However, due to the large number of elemental pearls accumulated, there were also some heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls without beads. The price of heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls with beads was far more expensive than those without beads. Therefore, when consuming heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls, Lin Yuan would be thrifty and choose to consume them without beads. Lin Yuan threw one of the elemental pearls into the parasol wood box. The instant the heavenly maiden-grade fire elemental pearl was thrown into the parasol wood box, The dark red parasol wood box with wooden patterns was as bright as a red crystal and emitted a red haze that looked like a fire cloud. At the same time, the milky blue tree sap was released with pure fire elemental energy from the heavenly maiden-grade fire elemental pearl. It ignited a mixture of azure blue and crimson flames of hot and cold colors. Lin Yuan thought to himself, "As expected, I prepared a completely jade-textured parasol would see in advance. Otherwise, if it had been another container, it would have already exploded under the extreme cold and extreme heat flames. However, for the completely jade-textured parasol wood box, the extreme cold and hot flames were not considered a burden. No matter what kind of flames it was, they were all fire elements and would only have a nourishing effect on the completely jade-textured parasol wood box." After the first fire elemental pearl was completely consumed, Lin Yuan threw in the second fire elemental pearl. Lin Yuan threw in the second fire elemental pearl and kept the ice blue and scarlet flames burning at the same time. In the beginning, the cold snow pine tree sap's ice blue flames had been suppressing the crimson flames released by the fire elemental pearls. As the fire elemental pearls continued to be thrown in, the situation grew. Slowly, the crimson flames released by the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls were about to suppress the cold snow pine tree sap's ice blue flames. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan's speed of throwing in the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls slowed down. Instead, he crushed the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls and added the powder bit by bit. From the moment Lin Yuan took out the heavenly maiden-grade fire elemental pearls, Master Hong Shen had been watching Lin Yuan's godly operation with his mouth wide open. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 617. Following Lin Yuan's operation, the increasingly dense pine fragrance dispersed all the strange smells in the workshop. The workshop's aura was like a newly born pine sprout under a 100-meter layer of snow. The scent of the pine sprout lingered in his nose, and he felt as though his fingers had pierced through the layer of snow and fallen into a world full of cedars. The pine sprout's fragrance made Master Hong Shen feel as though his soul was constantly being comforted, and it was abnormally comfortable. Thus, Master Hong Shen's mouth had been wide open for a long time. Instead, he used the two holes on his nose and mouth to crazily suck in the pine sprout's fragrance. The wonderful feeling of his soul being comforted made Master Hong Shen involuntarily intoxicated. At that moment, as Lin Yuan added in the fire elemental pearl powder, the cold snow pine sap, which was getting increasingly blue, instantly looked as though all the blue color had vanished along with the last wisp of ice flame. When the ice blue ice flame vanished, the scarlet flame was also extinguished. The moment the two types of flames vanished, the cold snow pine sap's milky blue tree sap instantly turned into black powder. Lin Yuan's lips curled into a smile. The pine smoke is like ink, and the ink has a sense of pine. Cold snow pine fragrance, done. Lin Yuan didn't pour the cold snow pine sap out of the parasol wood box into the crystal bottle. Instead, he covered the parasol wood box. He used the completely jade-textured parasol wood box as a container to store the cold snow pine sap. The completely jade-textured parasol wood was nourished by the fire element and contained the aura of two types of flames, which could be used to nourish the cold snow pine sap. Lin Yuan turned around and saw Master Hong Shen frantically inhaling the cold snow pine sap like a huge hippopotamus. He walked to Master Hong Shen's side with a smile. He took out a silver spoon from the amber button-shaped diamond fey storage box and used it to gently scoop up a bit of the cold snow pine sap that had been calcined into black powder. Lin Yuan used the most ordinary flame to ignite the black powder inside the silver spoon and placed the silver spoon on Master Hong Shen's nose. The smoke was sucked into Master Hong Shen's nose and reached the depths of his soul. The pine spring-like fragrance warmed the soul. At this point, the soul injury that had tormented Master Hong Shen for decades was healed. After Master Hong Shen woke up from his intoxication, it was as though he didn't know how Lin Yuan had ignited the cold snow pine sap. However, when Master Hong Shen sensed that his soul was extremely relaxed, he knew that his damaged soul had completely recovered. Master Hong Shen looked at Lin Yuan with gratitude and knelt on one knee. With a wave of his hand, a willpower rune, which he had clearly comprehended from plants, revolved around Master Hong Shin's finger. With Master Hong Shin's devout vow, he finally became Lin Yuan's follower. Master Hong Shin, who was kneeling on one knee, suddenly felt puzzled. Logically speaking, after his soul spirit had recovered, he should have become a healthy Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master and could become a Class 4 Creation Master at any time. Wherever he went, he would be able to make a name for himself and enjoy life wantonly. But why didn't she hesitate when she swore with the willpower rune to become this young man's follower? Looking at the bright smile on the young man's face, Master Hong Shin, who had become Kiran's follower, lowered his head respectfully. Master Hong Shin knew that if it wasn't for this youth in front of him, he would probably have to endure the pain and torment brought about by the trauma to his soul for the rest of his life. Everything that happened in this short period of time was like an accident in the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint. From Master Hong Shin's point of view, this accident was also his redemption. Lin Yuan reached out and helped Master Hong Shin, who was kneeling on one knee, up. Master Hong Shin had now completely become Lin Yuan's follower. When Master Hong Shin had summoned the willpower rune, Lin Yuan couldn't help but raise his brows in surprise. Lin Yuan could feel that the willpower rune that Master Hong Shin had comprehended must have been comprehended from plants. This was because the willpower rune's rich plant vitality could not be faked. However, the willpower rune that Master Hong Shin had comprehended from plants also contained an obvious bloodthirsty and murderous aura. This made Lin Yuan involuntarily think of the willpower rune that he had comprehended from his spiritual spatial zone ever since he had comprehended it. It was the willpower rune that he had comprehended under Extreme Massacre. The two willpower runes' murderous auras were too similar. If one had to carefully distinguish them, one would be able to distinguish some differences. The willpower rune that Lin Yuan had comprehended had a murderous aura that was close to madness. As for the slovenly Master Duan Li's willpower rune, it had a murderous aura that was close to elegance. Lin Yuan pondered silently. Such a willpower rune was obviously not suitable for those Fays that assisted creation masters and raised their standards. Instead, it was more suitable for powerful combat class Fays. Master Hong Shin, can you show me your contracted Fay? If it had been someone else speaking to Master Hong Shin like this, Master Hong Shin would probably have given that person a slap. It was a very rude thing for spirit chi professionals to ask about each other's contracted Fays. It was considered a taboo. It was the same as using a trick to not show off one's trump card. However, Master Hong Shin had already set his position as Lin Yuan's follower. Not only did Master Hong Shin not feel that there was anything wrong with Lin Yuan's question, but he was also very happy. With a wave of his hand, he summoned his contracted Fey. In Master Hong Shin's opinion, Lin Yuan's question was equivalent to his concern. Master Hong Shin was abnormally confident in his Feys. At the same time, Master Hong Shin treated this display of his Fey as an opportunity. Lin Yuan saw Master Hong Shin raise his hand, and a mass of purplish-black energy halo circulated. Immediately after, this mass of purplish-black light grew bigger and bigger, as though it had opened up a purplish-black domain. In the center of the domain, a lush, succulent plant that was over 1 meter tall appeared. When Lin Yuan saw the Fey that Master Hong Shin had summoned, he immediately looked at Master Hong Shin in shock. It seemed like he didn't just obtain a follower with the abilities of a Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master. At the same time, this follower with the abilities of a Pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master was also a Pinnacle King Class Combat Class Spirit Chi Professional. Even though Master Hong Shin had only comprehended one willpower rune, his contracted fantasy breed Fey was simply too powerful. Lin Yuan really didn't know how many resources Master Hong Shin had poured in to nurture such a Fey to such a degree. Lin Yuan felt that he had truly made a huge profit by recruiting a follower like Master Hong Shin. While looking at the fantasy breed Fey in front of him, he was secretly shocked. Lin Yuan also started to use Morbius True data to check on the Fey's attributes. After taking a look, Lin Yuan realized that Master Hong Shin's contracted fantasy breed Fey was much stronger than he had expected. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 6:18. Fey name: Black Copper Pot Mage, Fey species, Crassulaceae/Lotus Palm, Fey grade, Diamond, 10 out of 10. Fey type, dark, Fey quality. Fantasy Ivy abilities Frowny Face Lotus Palm Black Bullet. Each flower core can rapidly gather dark energy and form a dark-type energy bomb with strong adhesion and corrosiveness. Split Fragment Bullet. When the Lotus Palm Black Bullets collide, they will shatter, and the shattered energy will form an energy bomb with the Lotus Palm Black Bullet structure again. Lotus Palm Puppet. The Black Copper Pot Mage will store the dark-type Fey skeleton in the flower head. When the flower head falls, the flower head will spit out the nurtured Fey skeleton and burn the energy in the flower head to control the skeleton. Reserve Young Roots. The Black Copper Pot Mages will form 4 seeds near their roots. Each seed will quickly release the energy within the seed after leaving the mother's body, forming a Black Copper Pot Mage with the same strength as the mother. When the energy within the seed is exhausted, the Black Copper Pot Mage born from the seed will immediately wither. Old Copper Stem Stump. The Black Copper Pot Mage will absorb too much dark-type energy at night and store it in the old copper stem stump. Copper Pot Disintegration. The Black Copper Pot Mage will only leave one flower head and sacrifice all the other flower heads to release a Lotus Palm Black Bullet that contains the sacrificed flower head's energy. Exclusive Skill Frowny Face Darkness Essence. The body will extract the dark energy and increase the purity of the body's dark energy. Dark Slaughter. When the target is killed, the death aura produced at the moment of the target's death will give back a certain amount of dark energy to the Black Copper Pot Mage. The Black Copper Pot Mage was a succulent plant species Fey, the Black Wizard, that had gone through constant mutation and evolution. Lin Yuan was abnormally familiar with the Black Wizard. At that time, in Redbud City's Xia Region Fey store, apart from raising some production-type Feys, the Usneas, the Jasmine Lily and the Green Wizard, the succulent plant species Fey, the Black Wizard, was almost the same as the Green Wizard. The Green Wizard was a pure poison-type attack method, while the Black Wizard used dark-type energy as its main attack method. The reason Lin Yuan did not sell the Black Wizard in the Fey store was that he felt it was useless compared to the Green Wizard at normal. The reason why Lin Yuan did not sell Black Wizards in the Fey store was that he felt that compared to Green Wizards, Black Wizards were simply useless at normal. Even if green mages weren't very useful, they could still poison a few flies to death when they were normal rank. It could be considered as a simple pest control for the room. Meanwhile, the darkness energy emitted by a dark mage at the normal rank was so powerful that even a mosquito could not push it away. Be it the Jasmine Lily, the Green Mage or the Black Mage. These 3 meaty plant Feys could be considered the Feys with the lowest bottom line. As long as anyone in the Radiance Federation was willing to work hard and earn 500 Federation dollars, they would be able to buy a pot of Black Wizard. However, very few Spirit Chi professionals were willing to contract Black Mages. It was just like how no healing-type Spirit Chi professional was willing to form a contract with the Jasmine Lily. Naturally, it was fair. A lower limit meant a higher limit. Just like Lin Yuan's Jasmine Lily. After pouring in a huge amount of resources, just the normal ability, Heal, coupled with the exclusive skills, Life Imprint and Severed Connection, was not inferior to other healing-type Feys of the same grade and quality. However, it would consume a lot of resources to evolve and mutate a Fey with a low bottom line. It was just like filling up a bottomless pit. Lin Yuan really didn't expect that someone in this world would be willing to upgrade a Black Wizard to the Black Copper Pot Wizard's strength and level. It was reasonable to say that even if some Spirit Chi professionals had a poor family background and a low starting point, after these Spirit Chi professionals accumulated a certain amount of resources, they would definitely purchase a relatively good Fey. Then they would quickly change their main Fey. Instead, it would be a stubborn nurtured Black Wizard. When Master Hong Shun summoned the Black Copper Pot Wizard, Lin Yuan saw that there were hundreds of flower heads on it. He was certain that when Master Hong Shun was nurturing the Black Copper Pot Wizard, it had undergone a group mutation. It was just like the mutation that occurred when the Jasmine Lily evolved into a fantasy breed. However, when the Jasmine Lily evolved into a fantasy breed, apart from the group mutation, it had also undergone a fasciation mutation. Lin Yuan looked at the number of flower heads and was certain that the Black Copper Pot Wizard had reached Diamond X. However, Lin Yuan didn't expect Master Hong Shun's Black Copper Pot Wizard to also reach Fantasy 4. Master Hong Shen's strength could be considered outstanding among pinnacle king-class experts. Furthermore, the Black Copper Pot Wizard's combination of abilities and exclusive skills could be said to be simple and violent. The normal ability, Black Lotus Palm Bomb, could produce dark-type energy bombs with strong adhesion and corrosiveness. It could be considered a kind of violent, continuous single-target damage. The elite ability, Split Fragment Bomb, gave the Black Copper Pot Wizard a group attack effect. Together with the gold ability, Reserve Young Roots, it could expand the Black Copper Pot Wizard's group attack range. At the same time, the 4 seeds of the gold ability, Reserve Young Roots, grew 4 Black Copper Pot Wizard Child Ramets, which was equivalent to multiplying the Black Copper Pot Wizard's group attack ability. This allowed the Black Copper Pot mages to adjust the range and power of their spells as they pleased during group attacks. The diamond ability, Copper Pot Disintegration, was also considered an outstanding burst ability. The platinum ability, Old Copper Pot Stake, was equivalent to providing the Black Copper Pot Wizard with a container full of dark energy. During the battle, the Black Copper Pot Wizard could freely use the dark energy in the container to squander. The Black Copper Pot Wizard's only special ability was the silver ability, Lotus Palm Puppet. When the silver ability was at a low grade, its ability might not be very obvious. However, as the Black Copper Pot Wizard became stronger, the dark-type face skeleton that it could control would also become stronger. It would also play a greater role in the battle. To a certain extent, the silver ability, Lotus Palm Puppet, could be considered to increase the Black Copper Pot Wizard's mobility. The Lotus Palm Puppet was different according to the dark-type phase skeleton that it controlled. Some dark-type phase skeletons could also be used for control or defense. It was tantamount to increasing the Black Copper Pot Wizard's combat style. Lin Yuan could not help but suddenly think of the dark-eyed scorpion tiger and dark spirit-eye tadpole in his diamond phase storage box, where the Sacred Source life form, Sacred Sword-Hugging Queen, had extracted their willpower runes. The dark-eyed scorpion tiger's spiritual ingredients were precious because of its blood, fur, and several dark eyes on its head. The dark spirit-eye tadpole's spiritual ingredients were precious because of the mucus on its body surface and the gelatinous substance in its head. After the Mother of Bloodbath finished dividing the dark-eyed scorpion tiger and dark spirit-eye tadpole, the skeleton could be given to Master Hong Shen to use. The first was even better. End of this chapter. Chapter 620. When Master Hong Shen sensed Lin Yuan's Law of Darkness aura, it was as though he had seen a ghost. Master Hong Shen had seen Emperor-class experts and myth-breed phase with law runes before. However, the law power of those Emperor-class experts and myth-breed phase could not be compared to Lin Yuan's law runes. Each law rune's law power was relatively singular. However, the dark energy rising from Lin Yuan's body was like the fog under the fading night, and the fog revealed hidden dangers. This was obviously not an aura that a single law rune could emit. Master Hong Shen did not think that Lin Yuan would be very strong based on his age. Now that he used his spiritual energy to probe Lin Yuan's strength, he realized that his spiritual energy seemed to be blinded by something and could not be seen clearly. Master Hong Shen swallowed his saliva and could not help but guess that the youth he had just pledged allegiance to was an Emperor-class expert with multiple law runes. He had just heard Master Hong Shen talk about finding Emperor-class experts and myth-breed phase with the Law of Darkness to help transform Medusa. Lin Yuan immediately recalled what his master, the Moon Empress, had said about Medusa's knowledge. After Medusa absorbed the first wisp of elemental energy to determine its attribute, it was not impossible to change it. It just needed to be guided by the elemental law power. Lin Yuan's sacred source life form, the Sacred Sword-Embracing Queen, had absorbed 2 complete darkness-type law runes and 2 darkness-type willpower runes willpower. As a result, the princess's silk dress had almost turned into a black dress through and through. As long as Master Hong Shen's poison-type Medusa stayed with the Sacred Sword-Embracing Queen more often, it would be affected by the 2 darkness-type laws and willpower. Due to the influence of the 2 darkness-type laws and willpower on the skirt, its attribute should soon change. Master Hong Shen felt that today was his lucky day. Not only did he solve the big problem that had been troubling him for a long time, but he had also solved it. Not only had he solved the big problem that had been troubling him, but even the small problem that had been frustrating him had been perfectly resolved. While he was surprised by Lin Yuan's law of darkness, Master Hong Shun was also delighted. He carefully asked Lin Yuan, "Young master, are you an emperor-class expert?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan immediately knew that Master Hong Shun had sensed the surging law power around him. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan immediately knew that Master Hong Shun had sensed the surging law power around him. After the queen's skirt had absorbed the power of the laws and willpower, it had produced a shielding effect, causing others to be unable to check his spirit chi professional rank. However, Lin Yuan didn't give Master Hong Shun an answer. This was also the first time Lin Yuan had used the sacred source life form, sacred sword embracing Queen, Luo Kun's law and will. Lin Yuan realized that he seemed to be quite bluffing. However, if he didn't use the function of the holy sword mode, the surging rule power in his body was nothing more than a paper tiger. Other than scaring people, there was no practical effect. However, when Lin Yuan saw the black copper pot mage, who was visibly fearful after activating the dark type law and will on the princess dress, even the flower head was a little listless. Lin Yuan thought to himself, this kind of scaring effect seems to be pretty good. Leave your Medusa with me. When Wizard Medusa transforms from the poison element to the dark element, I'll give her to you. Master Hong Shun hurriedly handed the Medusa to Lin Yuan in excitement. If it had been someone else, Master Hong Shun would not have handed over Wizard Medusa. After all, Master Hong Shun had yet to make a contract with such a precious Medusa. If someone else were to trade or contract the Medusa after taking it away, Master Hong Shun would suffer a great loss. However, Master Hong Shun did not have any concerns with Lin Yuan. As Lin Yuan's follower, Master Hong Shun was already considered Lin Yuan's private property to a certain extent. Master Hong Shun understood that if Lin Yuan wanted this Medusa, he could just ask for it from him. Master Hong Shun had no way of rejecting it. Moreover, Lin Yuan was even willing to use such a precious suzerain/myth breed spiritual ingredient to heal the soul. Naturally, he would not deceive his Medusa. Lin Yuan stored the Medusa in the face storage box and left the workshop with Master Hong Shun. Lin Yuan scooped a little cold cedar incense powder with a silver spoon and lit it on Lu Pinru's nose like when he had treated Master Hong Shun. However, since Lu Pinru was unconscious, she could not quickly inhale the smoke from the cold cedar incense into her nose. Lin Yuan circulated his spirit chi and used it to drive the airflow to inject the smoke from the cold cedar incense into Lu Pinru's body through her nose. Although Lu Pinru was still sleeping quietly like before, as the pine smoke entered her body, Lu Pinru's soul injury had completely recovered. She no longer had to endure the intense pain from her soul when she had lost all 5 senses. After treating Lu Pinru, Lin Yuan turned to Master Hong Shun and said, "Master Hong Shun, help me take care of my 3 friends in the treatment center first." "Master Hong Shun, please help me take care of my 3 friends in the treatment center first. Give me a call when my 3 friends wake up so that I can arrange a place for you to go." As he spoke, Lin Yuan gave his number to Master Hong Shun. Then Lin Yuan, the mother of Bloodbath, and Zhang Xiaobai left Master Hong Shun's treatment center and rushed back to the Radiant Light Palace, where the all-star match was being held. Using the cold snow pine's tree sap to concoct the cold cedar incense was a delicate task. He had to let the cold snow pine's tree sap naturally change under the pure fire element. It took Lin Yuan nearly 3 hours to complete the task. As a result, it was already past noon. The all-star exhibition match should be almost over by now. Zhang Xiaobai had 2 huge stones pressing on his heart before coming, so he was not in the mood to chat with the mother of Bloodbath. He had restrained 90% of his talkative and cheerful nature. Now that Lu Pinru's soul injury had been healed by Lin Yuan, and White Devil had said that she would help Xening and Lu Pinru recover their 5 senses from the sense control King Gu tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Zhang Xiaobai, who had the 2 big stones in his heart lifted, completely erupted with his talkative and cheerful nature. Perhaps because he had been suppressed for a long time, Zhang Xiaobai, who had released his nature, started to talk incessantly. This caused the mother of Bloodbath, who had been chatting happily with Zhang Xiaobai, to be unable to stand him. Zhang Xiaobai rode on the soft-feathered scaled bird's back and shouted at Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath, who were riding on the other two soft-feathered scaled birds. "Let me, Zhang Xiaobai, see if you're smart. I'll give you a brain teaser, okay?" Lin Yuan had seen Zhang Xiaobai's brain teasers before. When he heard Zhang Xiaobai's question, he didn't want to reply. However, the mother of Bloodbath's interest was piqued. "Even 10 of you combined wouldn't be as smart as me. I can guess your brain teaser in one go." The first one was even better. End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.